Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, one game on the NBA playoff slate for tonight. The Golden State Warriors up 3-2, going to go for a Game 6 elimination of the Houston Rockets. Golden State, a 5.5-point favorite for that one, tip-off at 6 p.m. on ESPN. Big news elsewhere around the association. The San Antonio Spurs announcing that Greg Popovich will no longer coach the team, but will transition to a full-time role as the team's president. They're going to promote assistant Mitch Johnson to roam the bench. He's actually already been coaching the team since Popovich had a mild stroke back in November and has been with the organization for more than a decade. The 76-year-old Popovich leaves the sidelines as the all-time NBA wins leader, along with winning 5 championships. Over in golf, the second round of the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson suspended now because of some lightning happening on the course. Scotty Scheffler, the leader, though, at the time of the suspension, 12 under through 9 holes. Jonathan Vegas nipping at his heels at 10 under through 7 today. And in baseball, the Mariners going for their 8th straight series win on the road to face the Texas Rangers this afternoon. Brian Wu and Jack Leiter on the bump. First pitch at 5:05 on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's The Fan on FM. Go to 99.5 FM HD2 and enjoy high def 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny Meringue pie?
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey, welcome in. Happy Friday.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. I think that should be our Fridays now.
I like
It's
it.
just like,
Hell yeah, brother,
if
Fridays.
you say something and you agree with it, it's hell yeah, brother.
Love it.
Hell yeah. Let's go. Schultze's in. Schultze, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Friday. Thought it was Wrestling Wednesday for a second with the hell yeah, brother.
No, that should, we just need to normalize saying hell yeah, brother to people.
Pretty much,
I'm
yeah.
down.
I think it's an okay thing to say. I don't know. Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Y'all watched the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix, right? Hopefully by now.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, learned a lot about not only Vince McMahon, but the cast of characters like, hell yeah, brother, Hulk Hogan, and then found out Cyndi Lauper was into Hulk Hogan in the 80s as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, heard that a
She's
lot.
a big wrestler.
I know. Heard that a lot in the last month. So, Danny, very, very timely that you say that.
All right. Schultze, you are here, and you go by Schultze,
That is true.
but your name is Jordan.
Yes.
But it is spelled Jordan.
Just like Jordan Hudson, by the way.
Yeah, how do you feel about
Your namesake?
like the only other Jordon I know is dating a geriatric man.
And she's 24. And has possibly a control problem. I didn't like that. I've never met somebody with my name spelled Jordon like me. So this was very odd to see the first time be like some young lady from the other end of the country. Like, who else came up with this name? I thought my mom had the only idea for it. But
Well,
obviously not.
Turns out you're not that original, you know? Not
Are any
that
of us?
original. No.
I've had this discussion with my wife.
Uh-huh.
We're not doing the weird name thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're not.
Well, I
we're-
don't think Jordan's a weird name.
No.
It's like,
Yeah,
you're
thanks,
talking about the
Danny.
spelling.
No, I'm
kidding,
talking
I'm
about like the weird spelling. Like
Yeah.
Alex is ALEKS.
Or 2 X's.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're not doing that. No.
Yeah.
No, we're not going down that bad. Now, if we want to go with a little bit more of a unique name in general, fine. You know, little Aristotle.
Actually, I kind of like that.
Aristotle Meringue.
Aristotle Meringue. And you could call him Ari
Yeah.
or Art.
Ari.
Art.
Yeah.
Uh,
The only art I know is
I
Art
think-
Monk.
I think you should just go Stottle. Just
Stottle.
Stottle him.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Stotty, come here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, you found out that you have. I mean, Jordan is. It's a unisex name. It fits.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only Dusty that I know that is a girl is Dusty Springfield. But she's been dead
Oh, okay.
for 26 years or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
that was almost exact. That was kind of
Yeah. Well, yeah. You don't forget when a Dusty dies.
Okay, just like a piece of
Yeah,
you,
no
like
kidding.
it's like Highlander. You just feel it.
Yeah. It's big ups to Dusty Springfield.
When Dusty Baker goes,
He
that's
was
like
pretty-
like a part of your soul just dies.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a lot of Dusties that are around,
I
but
didn't think that was a popular name in the late 30s, but I'm wrong. So.
there is though. You can have the unisex name, but when your name trickles over to the pet world, look, my name's dynamic. There's dogs named
Oh, yeah.
Dusty.
My sister's named after a dog.
horses, men, women, like every it's a catch-all name.
I used to
got.
troll my sister. That was like she was like 5 or 6 years old.
What's her name? Spot?
Chelsea.
Oh,
My uncle had a min pin, miniature pincher. My
Uh-huh.
uncle and my aunt had a miniature pincher named Chelsea.
well, that's a
And that was-
dog with a human name.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%.
That's a dog with a
But
human
I-
name. She
but-
doesn't have a dog name.
Look,
She
being,
has a
being evil big brother.
Yeah,
I was like, ha, you're named after a dog.
yeah,
And she's like, no, I'm not. And my mom was like, well,
mm,
actually, that was the first place we heard it.
yeah.
Oh, good.
So that's what we're going for.
Most brutal takedown of my sister that I'd ever heard was she used to tell me that I was adopted.
Oh,
Yeah, and then she would say like, "You were a mistake," right? Normal,
Oh, yeah,
normal
yeah.
big sibling stuff. And parents front seat dropped the. If anyone was a mistake, it was you.
Oh, oop, zinger.
Damn.
finding out
Son?
that I was 60% Irish
Yeah.
in my genealogy test or whatever it was. I started like Googling like strong Irish names.
Oh gosh, are you gonna go like Seamus?
Kieran.
Or O'Brien.
Seamus meringue.
You got to do the ones
Hey.
that have like the letters don't make any sense. I think it's Scottish that does that.
Well, you just started this whole thing by
Yeah.
saying we're not going to go weird names.
Yeah, no, I
But
did-
you are definitely going to name your kid something awful, and you're going to be like, what? That's not... Dude, that's one of the historically most original names ever. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, nobody's named their kid that in 1,000
Yeah,
years.
that's, I mean,
I mean, Muhammad's the most common name in the world. You could go with that. So.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I'll get away with that one.
Muhammad McLovin meringue.
Oh boy, my wife was like, "Really? Now you're tying into your Irish roots?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm just mostly looking at them."
Golly. All right. Oh, yeah, just go Tron. Tron. Go Tron meringue.
There you go. We could go full on Key and Peele.
Yeah. Yeah. Another art.
Tasmarius.
Art Vandalay.
Aquarius Minarius.
Vandalay Industries.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Isn't there there's an Art Edwards that works for KGW, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, reporter, like local guy.
You
Channel
know
8.
more
I
arts
guess I
than
do
you
know more
know.
arts than I
Yeah.
do. That's what I am. That's
Yeah.
what people say. Danny knows the arts.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's a good dad joke for a Friday.
Hey. I love when
Alright.
dogs have human names. I have a Shih Tzu named Linda Francine. That's text line. That's not me.
That's weird. I had a friend with a dog named Paul as a kid. I was like, why? What? Oh, we liked the name, so
My
we
middle
chose
name.
Paul. Like, what?
But you just yell like you're at a park. You're just yelling Paul.
Paul!
People are gonna think like a little kid is lost. They're
I
gonna
mean,
just be
dog
like,
parents.
"What is going on here?"
And they called him like Paulie too, so it was even worse. You really did think it was a kid if you heard them screaming after him.
Hot damn.
My wife gave one of my dogs a middle name. Dallas. She calls her Dallas Marie.
Why do
Okay.
I love that so much?
Oh.
It's a good one.
A lot of people naming kids after dogs in your family.
Mm.
What's going on there?
I mean,
Well, no, this is just my dog.
I'm shocked more.
Dallas Marie.
I'm shocked more and more people don't name like their dogs or cats like after like famous superheroes or characters. Like we've got 2 cats. Their names are Pikachu and Eevee. When I get a dog, it'll be
Big
named Ichiro. So
Pokemon. Oh,
There you go.
you've already named your soon-to-be dog.
yeah, once we get a corgi, that'll be it.
Wait, you're gonna get you want a corgi?
I want a corgi so.
I figure if
bad.
you name it Ichiro, you go like Shiba Inu.
Yeah, I guess, but that's a whole different dog breed, right?
Well, I know, but I'm saying like that's culturally.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's in right now. Yeah.
Oh, those dogs are rad.
All right.
I love those things.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, but
Talking names of dogs.
I mean, we have like
long
mo-
way to say. Jordan Schultz is here.
Hey, guys.
and
we have,
he's
we have
named
mostly
after
human names in our dogs. I've got Dallas and Tanner.
his.
Tanner's in the Dusty vein.
No, there's just like a lot of kids named Tanner,
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's,
like little kids.
but it's a name that can translate between
Yeah.
dog and person very easily.
I don't know many dogs named Tanner besides your
Really?
dog named
I know
Tanner.
I know 3 other dogs named Tanner that I've found
Oh.
since then.
Look at you! Look at you!
Yeah.
I think dog names should be dog names.
Mm.
That being said, I had Jack, Casey as dogs, and then Max. But Max was Mac Daddy Pimpadocious. That was his name. That's a sweet name.
That's pretty good.
Max for short.
They all work.
Yep.
Yelling out Pimpadocious.
But I like dog names that are badass dog names, like Boomer. Great dog name. Not a human name.
Boomer Esiason.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Not a human.
Is that his first? Is that his real name?
No, your first. Nobody's naming you Boomer.
Well, what about Gunner though too?
His
Did
name
he-
is Norman. Just call him Norman Esiason, okay?
Nobody's calling him Norm. That's like Doc Rivers, Glenn.
You will never guess his middle name either. Julius. What? Norman Julius Esiason. That
That
is
does not roll off the tongue.
That
and
is
it's
a
the whitest guy ever.
Badass name,
It's a
though.
long name. Norman Julius Esiason.
Yeah.
That is a sweet name.
Did not know that about Boomer.
I wonder,
Norm.
like, if you really didn't like Boomer and you just met him, you're like, my name is Boomer. No, it's not. It's Norman.
I know who you are, Norman.
Just hit him with that. See how it goes.
Now, okay, there are some dog names, like my Rottweiler's name is Hank. Hank is a
Hank.
solid dog name.
And you have to be one of two dogs. You have to be a tiny dog or a big dog. Because the tiny one's the ironic Hank. The big dog is the Hank.
Yeah, tiny dogs are not dogs.
Wow. How tiny?
Lap dogs.
Yeah, like Pomeranians and smaller, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my dogs are bigger than that. They're 17 and 20 pounds. They're still they can still sit in my
Oh,
lap. though.
one of my cats is 18 pounds. It's great.
Yeah. Rottweiler named Hank is a great name.
Yeah, no, the Rottweiler named Hank is perfect. That's a Spike.
See, I got my buddy V Clay just texted. My new dog's name is Raider.
Hey,
Named his dog Raider. It's for Southern Oregon,
know.
but
I can pretend.
that's a great name.
Yeah.
You know, Raider.
Raider. Come here, Raider.
Spike the cat.
Play the autumn wind for him. See if he likes it.
Jeez.
That's how he just
It
perks
just
up his
perks
ears
up.
and comes
Yeah,
back. Yeah. But yeah, like there's a lot of people, you want to name your corgi that doesn't exist yet, Ichiro,
Yes, sir.
Schultze. Somebody has a black lab named Griffey.
Thank you.
I have one of my best friends, their family dog, a golden retriever named Griffey.
We are all brethren.
Like naming the last name of your favorite athlete,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
that's a good way to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Ooh, here's a good one. A bloodhound named Darla.
I went to high school with a Darla that became a model, so that just doesn't
Look,
hit right for me.
bloodhounds though, like a bloodhound is like a very
Hottest Darla ever then?
Yeah.
Yes, literally, probably.
Wow.
Like she was picked up by Victoria's Secret. So yes, in real life, the hottest one ever.
Wow.
I was thinking of Daria for a second. I had that show stuck in my head. Not Darla.
Daria.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
It's a blast from the past.
Yeah. But bloodhounds, like any dog that has super long ears, like droopy ears, like they have to have like a different kind of name.
Yeah. You're,
Do you know what I mean?
100% right.
Like the droopier the ear, the more likely you can go human name.
Agreed.
Mm.
Agreed. But it's got to be a name that it's not in circulation.
It's not common.
Like Art or Hank.
Darla.
You know, Darla.
How many dogs like in Portland are named like Blazer or Clyde
Probably a lot.
or
Probably a
Brandon or Dame?
Probably a lot. Well, Brandon the dog.
I know a lot of Roys.
There you go, Roy.
Yeah.
I actually
Roy.
know like 4 or 5 different people who have
See?
dogs named Roy.
Also,
and
a
they-
first name that's phased out.
Mhm.
You can go with it.
Mhm.
It's a free game now.
Yeah. Roy Meringue. Actually, yeah, that hits.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that.
Well, my grandpa's name was Roscoe, so
Ooh, we just discovered something here,
Dude,
baby.
Roscoe
Yeah,
went by Rocky.
sounds awesome.
Went by Rocky.
that's even better. He's gonna grow up to be a professional football player, like right now.
Yeah.
I'm so
You already
in.
know.
Grandpa Rocky. Yeah.
Yeah. We also have Jordan Scott, another Jordan.
Mm.
You, Jordan Hudson, and Jordan
I
Scott.
forgot about Jordan Scott.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they actually say it Jordan. It's great. It's the only person I've ever heard pronounce it Jordan.
Well, you look at it, that's how they should pronounce your name, Jordan.
Well, then let's say Oregon. Why don't we do it all? Like,
Oh, so they went with the Jordan Oregon? Yeah, okay.
yeah, it's
All
like
right.
you guys all suck. Come on,
All right. All right.
get it right.
See, God, Kersey, that's a great name. Yeah, last name of your favorite athlete, it will work for your dog. Like mine would be Biggio.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that'd work.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Bagwell. Brady doesn't work.
Yeah.
Brady works. What do you?
It's like a punk kid wearing pit vipers playing baseball.
I can't
Travel
go
ball.
I can't go Pujols.
No.
Nope.
No.
Albert.
Hey,
Bert.
Albie.
Bert.
Albert.
Bert.
I can go
Yeah.
Albert.
Ooh, Bert.
That's doable.
Yeah.
That's very doable.
Or Ozzy.
Mm.
Go Ozzy Smith.
See?
Yeah, like Edgar Martinez. Edgar. Edgar's a good dog name. too.
Janikowski can't work, but Seabass.
Seabass works, dude.
Seabass works.
Yep. All right. Well,
Is it weird that Seabass is one of my favorite Raiders of all time?
no.
There's just something about a big Polish kicker with a dip in on the sideline kicking 65-yarders.
Man, you lived up to all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Just
Yep.
a dude.
All right. Keep sending your dog names in.
This is great.
There's a lot of them.
What a Friday. Let's go.
Yeah. Dude, back in the 70s, had a dog named Frazier. We named it after Joe Frazier. It's great.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go. A friend of mine named his dog Larkin. Big Reds guy.
Hell yeah.
Uh,
See, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sports fans.
is that
this
dog
is-
on roids?
Like it. Like it.
Oh, man.
There's some Angels fan out there.
It's like a pit bull just jacked out of its gourd. You're like, is
All right.
Larkin. Like, oh, yeah,
yeah.
get it.
He's got another one named Ken Seiko.
Oh, God. Yeah, the Bash Brothers. I got them right here.
Oh,
What do they
man.
call them? They call them like frog-legged pit bulls.
I don't
They-
know.
They've been like bred down to like be. It's not good for them. But
Don't you think?
they're like bred down to where their legs are like. I think they call them like bullfrog pit bulls or something like that. But they're like their legs are like bowed out and they're super low to the ground.
All right. So I saw what I thought was the coolest dog. It was, and by coolest, I mean, it looks like he got mixed up in the lab, science lab. But it was a Rottweiler wiener dog mix. So think of a Rottweiler's head and a Rottweiler's like girthy body, but low to the ground and really long body. It was like the Rottweiler head, and then it was like a thick boy,
Mhm.
thick boy dog. Just like somebody said, Stretch Armstrong him.
That's what Tanner is.
It was
Tanner's a Dachshund Rottweiler, but he's the Dachshund size. Well, not Dachshund size because he's 20 pounds,
yeah.
but he's built with this big brick head in a mini package.
This dog was like your dog on roids,
Mhm.
though. I've seen pictures of your dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I went, oh,
He-
that's a
he-
science experiment.
He got
wrong.
the other side of the coin. He got more of the rot with the size, but
dude.
stretched out. Where
It was the
mine's
weirdest damn
the
thing I've ever seen.
Dachshund size, but like it's disgusting. Tanner's jacked. Like he's this little dog has like muscles. And you're just like,
Yeah.
what's going on here, bud?
Golly. Big Dumper would be great for a little Yorkie. Yeah, if you're a
Oh my
Cal
God,
Raleigh
yeah.
fan,
That's perfect.
you just call your little dog Big Dumper.
If I get a second dog, it will be Big Dumper. That's, there we go.
In Raleigh works.
Actually, yeah, that too. Damn.
Have fun going to the vet and being like, what's your dog's name? Big Dumper.
Well, hopefully they'll see all the Mariners gear that I'm wearing and they'll get it.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't.
Oh, man. All right, let's get the show on the road, okay? We got a lot of, just so many more. So many more dogs coming in. Let's get this show on the road. We got a lot that we need to get to today. We have playoffing so
oh
hard.
my God, that Knicks Pistons game. Sweet Jesus.
Yeah. We've got some college football news and notes. Dan Lanning was not happy after Oregon's spring game with one aspect of his team. We'll play some audio from him and then fill you in on what the Ducks did to rectify it. This is going to be a surprise to people. LeBron James went out of the playoffs before people expected.
Mm-hmm. He was hurt.
Now he's hurt.
Mm.
Okay. Just so we all know. And probably the worst trade ever proposed, and it involves the Portland Trailblazers.
It's not the worst, but it's up there.
It's one of them. It's really, really ridiculous. But where we got to start this bad boy off, Jalen Brunson sent Asur Thompson into outer space and home
Yeesh.
as the Knicks knock off the Pistons 116-113 in Game 6 and move on to the conference semifinals. Get to that next. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Check out the Fan Dusty on the Fan.
Tanner has chimed in on the YouTube chat. The human, not your dog. He said, what the hell? Ain't no dog's named Tanner.
Yeah, there's. I can send you a picture of one right now.
All right. And yeah, we got somebody who has great names for his dogs. Sean's Bronson after Action Bronson. Next dog's going to be Barry or Sanders. Solid. We named our dog Harry Fitzgerald. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Called him Fitzy.
Okay.
Yeah. It was great.
A dog named Harry is a little on the nose, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is Hairy.
There you go.
Harry
Hey.
Fitzgerald. But I love Larry Fitzgerald.
He could have been Harold Fitzgerald.
Mind blown. All right, the Knicks knock off the Pistons
I could do this all show.
in Game 6, 116 to 113. Great game, phenomenal basketball game where the Pistons had to rally in that fourth quarter, and you had a back and forth affair, but Jalen Brunson with one of the most incredible crossovers that, I don't know how Pistons fans are rationalizing this, but saying that Jalen Brunson pushed off is just not true. It just was such a insane crossover that Asur Thompson went on roller skates and just went whoop right out of the scene.
It was one of the nastiest snatchbacks we've ever seen. And then, I mean, leading up to that, Asar put Jalen Brunson in a body bag in 2 straight possessions.
Yep.
I mean, what he did to him was insane.
I thought it was pretty telling. Was it Duran after the game? I think it may have been Jalen Duran after the game said, Asur Thompson, and I'm paraphrasing here, Asur Thompson is sick to his stomach because that's one of the best defenders in the world. Prior to him getting sent into the atmosphere by Brunson on that crossover, he looked like he was one of the best defensive players in the world.
Yeah.
But that crossover was nasty.
Filthy snatchback. He created like 8 feet of separation. And then he not only did he have to create that space to knock that shot down, I felt so bad for the Pistons because there's one coaching decision that came out of this game that I was like, don't do it. I don't care about the free throws. And it was JB Bickerstaff taking Asar out because they were worried about going hack at Asar. And I get it. But the second you took Asar out of the game, Jalen Brunson came up huge. Now, he got Asar in the end, but I think the game was decided a few minutes previous when he was able to go at Dennis Schroeder multiple times. And the one where Jalen just slipped and fell and they called a foul that they had to challenge that was so dumb. It was so bad. It was so egregious. It was like, get the hell up, Jalen. Get up.
He flops a lot.
And it bothers me because he's so good. And then you see him use his footwork and balance on the baseline to get that reverse. I mean, his footwork might be the best in the NBA. It is like, that's how a 6-foot guard is successful in the NBA, is the ability to knock down threes. His footwork is incredible. His balance is incredible. It is a superhuman power. Jab, spin, fall, back, step through, up and under, get to the other side, get the reverse. But it's on Schroeder. It's not on Asar, who gives you so much more length, strength, athleticism. And if those possessions don't happen, are you in that position? And God, Malik Beasley doing the Gary Trent Jr. The ball swings to him, and it just squirts through his fingers. And the play design was brilliant. Malik Beasley was going to have a clear look to line up and lace a 3. And he was the reason they got back into the game early on. He was the human torch. The Pistons came out soft.
I thought so, too. Well, the Knicks also came out
swinging
and flexing. And then Karl Anthony Towns, I don't know what happened to Karl Anthony Towns.
He catted. That's what he did.
But no, on the injury, non-injury thing that he was like playing through.
I think he slipped a rib. The way where he was grabbing, everyone's like, oh, he got the wind knocked out of him. No, because he
didn't look like it.
He doubled over. When you get the wind knocked out of you, don't double over like that. He was having like, you could see the pain, and he wasn't grabbing his like sternum. He was grabbing his side. It looked like did you see the jump ball?
Yeah.
He smacked the hell out of Jalen Duren on the face, and as Duren got hit, like it looked like he like bottom of his hand like almost karate chopped his rib, and it looked like he slipped a rib.
Because where he got hit it's not a place that you get the wind knocked out of you either. It was like too high for that. It was a really weird play, but it was also like it's kind of one of those things that like this happens to Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, but also Towns was bad.
He was bad.
He was like
so was Tobias Harris.
Yeah,
Tobias Harris was especially on the defense. It's like on the defensive end, they were getting cooked when he was on the floor. I think his plus minus was like minus 20, 25 or 20 something. I don't know. It was really bad though.
23.
Minus 23.
Yeah, they were plus 17.
How many
with
minutes
Beasley.
did he play?
39.
Man.
Plus 17 with Beasley on the court. Beasley played 24 minutes. It was plus 17. He had 20 points, 6 of 13 from three.
It was noticeable when Tobias Harris was on the floor. He's been in. I want to say though, Tobias Harris has been great. Was great in this series. He was not last night, and that was like slow start. You started to see the Knicks came out. They've been there before. They've done that before together for the most part. And the way that game started, it looked like it was going to be a long day for Detroit. But that young-ass team
pushed them to the brink,
kept their heads in it, and whittled it away, and gave themselves a chance at the end.
Cade had a couple chances. That last layup, he just smoked it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, no, dude.
They're going to get it in time.
Yeah, he was 0 of 8 from 3. The three-point shooting is like, look, this Pistons season, they went from, 15 wins to 44?
Yeah, the largest jump in NBA history
and
of win differential.
If you have, 2 or 3 things go different across this series, you win the series.
Yep. You won it one game ago in New York.
Like, that's how tight this series was.
Yeah.
And this is a team they're on the right path, man. Like, and you can talk about, it's the East and da-da-da-da. They're a player away from, maybe that's guys Jaden Ivey. Like there is opportunities for the Pistons going forward. They didn't go out sad. I was disappointed that they weren't able to force Game 7. That was the one I thought was going to go 7 for sure. But unfortunately, the Pistons fans didn't get to see a home court win in the playoffs, and they are now 18 years without a home court win in the playoffs.
Yikes, dog.
It's tough.
Well, the Eastern Conference semifinals are set. You have still don't know when, but the Cavs will be taking on the Pacers in a 1-4 matchup, and the Celtics-Knicks will be in the 2-3 matchup. If you're following along at home, top 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference have all advanced. The Western Conference, different story. Because we do get a Game 7 because James Harden was not Jim Harden. He was James last night. First is Schultze with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on the Fan, breaking news in the NBA in just the last 20 minutes or so. The Memphis Grizzlies hiring interim coach Tuomas Isalo to be their next head coach. He replaced Taylor Jenkins back in March and now will become the first Finnish-born head coach in NBA history. Earlier this morning, we found out that the Spurs are going to move on from Greg Popovich on the sideline, but he will still be with the organization, transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president. They're promoting assistant Mitch Johnson to roam the bench. He's already been with the team for over a decade and took over for Pop when he had a mild stroke back in November. Popovich leaves the NBA sideline as the all-time league wins leader, along with winning 5 championships. And one game on the playoff slate for tonight, the Golden State Warriors up 3-2, going for a Game 6 elimination of the Houston Rockets. Tip-off at 6 p.m. on ESPN. And in baseball, the Mariners going for their 8th straight series win. They hit the road tonight facing off against the Rangers. That's a 5:05 p.m. start on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back, the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Lang on the Odyssey app and Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
We got a Game 7. That's exciting. We needed it in the NBA playoffs.
Of course we do. More Game 7s is always better.
It'll be on Saturday. Oh, right after the Run for the Roses. Right after the Kentucky Derby, which is, I think, a 3:25 post usually.
Yeah, you've got, 17 hours of pre-race and then
Yeah.
2 minutes of running?
Well, they're running ponies all day.
Yeah.
They're
So
running them all day.
I tune in at 3 and I won't miss the Kentucky Derby. That's what you're telling me.
Well, don't quote me on that, but I think it's 3:25. Cool. Usually around that time. But at 4:30 on Saturday, you got Game 7 in Denver. I don't know if you know this, but it's 5,280 feet above sea level.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Nobody will tell you that there in Denver. Definitely not. They'll not tell you every chance they get. But the Clippers will be there playing the Nuggets, and it's on TNT. And it will be Game 7, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And I love that for basketball.
And the Nuggets have not done well in the last couple Game 7s at home.
Oh, for 6?
Yep.
That's not good, dog. But they are fighting against the battle of Jim Harden.
Yes,
so
they
you
are.
tell me, who's worse in Game 7s? The Nuggets recently or Jim Harden?
Jim Harden.
Okay. Because Game 6 last night,
That was
we
James.
thought it could be a Jim Harden game. It was not. It was James.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on one last night.
He was very good. Kawhi Leonard was very good. Zubac's box score is not going to tell the story. What he did to Nikola Jokic down the stretch was freaking incredible.
There one possession late in the game where he forced him out of the little Jokic spin move hook shot towards the block, shoved him off the block, and then blocked his shot. I was going, people don't do that to Jokic because Jokic finds a way with his athleticism
Or his
to
size.
get underneath. Yeah, or he'll just bully you. Zubac was like with him every step of the way, which is incredible for a man that size.
Zoo's an incredible defender. I remember I told you when I was doing my fake ballot for Defensive Player of the Year, I had real consideration for Zoo. Like, if you look at all of his numbers, we talked about how good Donovan Clingan has been at the rim this year. He's top 5. Wemby was so far and above. Zoo was number 2. Like, Zoo's rim protection stats are through the roof. And that Clippers team has been very good defensively this year. And it's because, look at the best teams in the NBA defensively. What do they all have? Rim protection.
Yep.
That's why it's so valuable, because if you can take away the most, everybody talk about threes all we want. The most valuable defense you can play is at the rim. Period, point blank. Analytically, everybody talks about corner threes and all that. The most valuable shot in the NBA is the dunk or the layup.
Well, I will counter that with one other play, which may be my new favorite shot in all of basketball. The Zubac floater from anywhere between 12 and 15 feet, where it's usually like what a guard will do, runner through the lane from 6 to 3 feet away from the hoop. He does it from 15 feet away. He does it from the free throw line at the elbow, and it hits every damn time.
Look, there's 2 players in the league who do it. It's him and Isaiah Hartenstein. Those 2 guys have incredible touch from 10 to 15 feet. It's unreal that a big like that.
Not a shot though. He does not shoot the ball. He just floats
it. It's like a push thing. It's super weird. But it's buttery smooth every time.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like my new favorite shot.
Şengün does it, but he does it more of like a hook flip kind of a deal. But Hartenstein and Zoo both do that because so many teams play drop coverage on them. Number one, they're both very well. Hartenstein's an incredibly good passer for a big. Zoo's got good vision, but if you try to, because he's such a rim roll threat, you got to try to take a step back early. And when you do that, he just pulls up in that pocket. It's similar but different into what DA does, what DeAndre Ayton does when he soft rolls to the rim, but he wants to get to that 10-foot mid-range shot. Where Zoo, he does it almost as a counter because he's such a good and efficient rim finisher. It's the counter move to it. But yeah, no, it's
I loved it.
Oh, it's incredible. Look, this Clippers team is good, man. Just period, point blank. They're a good team, and they don't the way they lose is when they take the shotgun to their own foot.
Well,
you don't beat them; they beat themselves.
So have the Nuggets,
Mhm.
though. Whether it's Russell Westbrook, which several times this year he's done it, but last night, and this is what Game 7 will come down to in my mind. Who lays an egg?
Mhm.
Harden or Michael Porter Jr.?
Because he did what he did last night, and he does have. Look, I want to give MPJ a little bit of
Shoulder.
slack. His shoulder is bothering him. Ever since he had that, he hasn't been anywhere near the glass.
And this is this is what that game will come down to. If Harden just does the disappearing act,
Or has the 8 turnovers, 9 turnovers kind of game, and just bleh.
but Denver is backed into a corner because they can't play anybody else
Nope.
except for Michael Porter Jr. because the one guy who gets minutes off their bench is Russell Westbrook. Now they played Peyton Watson.
You got
and
11.
They've been trying to like put him in, but you can't trust it. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. still had to play 24 minutes last night, and it looked like I'll give him credit for
Going out there. He's
he-
clearly fighting.
He gave them 6 minutes of serviceable basketball. The other 18, you were going, how long can you do this? Because you want to talk about JJ Redick's reluctance to play anybody? David Adelman's in the same boat, and it's the same boat that pissed off Michael Malone to the point where they fired him, is that they don't have a bench.
Look, Adelman's the new guy. He can have leash, and he's looking around going, I've been here. I know. Not going to do it.
We can't do it. Who do they put in? Who do they put in? Dario Saric?
No, he's unplayable.
Well.
It wouldn't surprise me if Dario calls it a career after this. It's just all of the injuries are just caught up to him.
Strother, that was last year. Michael Malone would play him, but we haven't seen him.
Zeke Najee's no. Like, you just go down the list. It's just no.
Who is Hunter Tyson?
Kid from Cal, but yeah, no. And you
That's
can't
the first time I've ever seen that name in my
I
life.
was like, what?
and you can't put Jalen Pickett out there because he's too small. Jalen Pickett's my size. Like, it's just no, you can't do it. Because even though the Clippers aren't the biggest team in the world, they're big in the middle. Like, James Harden is 6'5" and 220, 230.
Hunter Tyson, I'm just looking at his picture now. How's that guy not playing?
I'm
for
thinking
the Utah?
Jalen Tyson. Jalen Tyson went to Cal. Hunter Tyson.
Tyson went to Clemson.
Clemson, yeah.
But he looks like he should be playing for the Utah Jazz. Click on his profile.
Oh yeah, no.
Click on him. He looks like he is from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Belongs on the mountain of Great
Yeah.
White, is what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Goodness gracious. All right. Well, I'm excited for Game 7 though because it does have intrigue.
Oh God,
And
yeah. You give me Game 7, and look, that first 15 minutes, man, at altitude. We joke about it and how stupid and everything it is. That first quarter makes or breaks teams.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of that home court.
I got questions. Have we seen a new arena make an impact like we have with the Intuit Dome? Danny Dusty on the Fan.
It's back, and it's Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
The Intuit Dome, where the Clippers play, Ballmer's Palace in Inglewood.
The toilet bowl.
Yeah, he was very proud of how many toilets they have.
It's like 1,200 or something like that.
That place rocks, man.
Look, he spent top dollar and built a place that was just gonna have a built-in home court advantage. He wanted it to be like, after playing in Staples / Crypto for so long and having to cover up Laker banners and all that stuff. They have their own home and they've made it their own deal. And look, the Clipper fan base is smaller, certainly, than the Lakers by a lot.
You think?
But they've made that a real home court, man. And for their first time in that building in the playoffs and having their own space, it was rocking.
It was super loud. It was sold out. They were there early.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's part of what he's done.
Even Laker playoff games, it's a late arriving crowd. But they were there early. The wall of fans, if you don't know what the wall is, it is basically general admission seating. It's like the Timbers Army, where you sit in this area and you can get season tickets to it, but where you are is first come, first serve.
Yep.
The earlier you get there, the better your spot will be, and they track how loud you are, and you can get like discounts on stuff for being loud.
I love that.
Isn't that awesome?
And so it's just pure insanity the whole game.
And they're giving fans incentives to act like pure fanatics.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And in the fourth quarter, the opposing team is shooting at that hoop, and
there's
it
sometimes
gets
where they've decided to not.
Yeah.
They'll flip it because they don't want to deal with it late in games.
And that is the weirdest thing to me. The visiting team does choose
which
hoop they want to go to. And usually they will be away from their bench in the second half. I don't know why you would want to shoot into the wall. The wall is terrifying.
I mean, Kevin Durant even said, it was like, yeah, man, it was the first time he was there. He was like, yeah, it's juiced.
But he designed it specifically to be loud.
And it's got like a forward tilt to it. So it's like they're like, it feels like it's like coming down on top of you.
Oh, yeah, the wall, yes. Yeah. But the entire arena was designed to be loud and to bounce sound everywhere. Pretty dope.
Who is Steve Ballmer's friend? Who was his business partner? Paul Allen.
Paul Allen and, so you're going the clink up there, Lumen Field.
But not just that.
Designed to be loud.
So was the Moda. Like those panels on the ceiling, those aren't there for decoration. They're there to redirect. Like this is, again, 95, 96. That was technology that was used to redirect sound back down to the floor.
Yeah.
They're trying to replicate the Coliseum at the time because it was known as one of the loudest arenas in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, use that to, 35 years later, it's still affecting sports. Cool.
Yeah, they have noise sensors placed strategically throughout the arena to monitor fan noise levels, potentially for incentives or to gauge overall energy of the crowd. I mean, he doesn't need one. That guy is a lunatic. But what he's done is created a fan base that are built like him. And everybody's like, the Clippers, you'll never be a thing. You're always going to play second fiddle to the Lakers. What they needed was a direction in being different from what the Lakers are. This is completely different. And now that you're not in their arena, it's a place that they're making their own. Like the Clippers are going to have a fan base.
Yeah,
for the first time ever.
You have your own character. You have your own soul. And I haven't been down there yet. I've talked to a bunch of people who have been there. They've all told me the game day experience is incredible. Yeah. They've got the big Halo scoreboard.
Yeah.
It's a full 360 Halo that is suspended in the middle of the arena that has this like really cool integration. They have T-shirt cannons that are built into the middle of it that you can't see. And it'll put up like a player up on the screen. And when that player throws, the cannon will sync up with it and it'll mimic the path of the player throwing. It's just like these cool little things that they do.
David Adelman said this about the Intuit Dome. They have a crowd. They have the crowd towards our bench. It's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool. The other thing is they pump sound in the place. The place is so loud. It's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not.
Look, I shouldn't say no place is worse. There's two candidates: Oklahoma City and San Antonio. The two most piped-in crowds in the entire NBA.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong; those crowds are loud too, but the noise that is pumped into those arenas is otherworldly. And I'm very interested to go down to Intuit and see if it is as loud
Yeah, that
as
was
far as
cool.
the pumped in stuff.
That was really cool. I enjoyed that.
No, it was. I mean, it was great basketball, great environment. Like this is what. Look, there's a very simple equation to make basketball better: engage crowds, games that matter, and don't blow the damn whistle.
Oh yeah.
Like allowing physicality in the NBA playoffs has made basketball better. And we have this argument and this discussion every freaking year, and I'm like, why don't we just do this for 82 guys? And yet,
and is it because the physicality will lead to more injuries?
I don't think so. I think the league just they want to try to juice up the score during the regular season because that's what they thought people wanted. When in
It's
reality,
not.
they want good basketball.
One of the smartest things that you have said is you have your sweet spot of scores.
Mhm. 104.
Think of the games that we've seen, like that 111, 105 last night. Very fun. 113, 116, that was just close at the end, but that was a really fun game. Wednesday night, the game that really stuck out to me, that Timberwolves-Lakers game, 103 to 96. That was like fun, drama. Boring game, 131, 116 Rockets-Warriors Wednesday night.
Because when the margin gets too, or when the score gets too high, you're typically somebody's cooking, and there's no defense being played because there's no physicality, there's no juice behind it.
Which is fun to watch.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
But I want that to be the exception, not the rule. I don't want 118 a game from between teams. I don't want 115. I like the combined points for me, like a perfect game is like 211. Like that's somewhere between 208 and 211. Like that's
your totals.
Your total. Like
been
that's
blowing through that during the regular season.
It's been
for sure.
like you look at during the season, like 225 to 236 is like where you're falling on most nights.
That's crazy.
And it's just too much.
Yeah. Wow. The NBA playoffs they've been all right. They've been all right. You catch any of the NHL action last night?
No.
Oh.
I had the 3 box up for a couple of games, but I was locked in on because the NBA games were so good.
You basketballing too hard.
Yeah.
Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, I saw that.
4-2. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now we can look. Canada got to hoist the cup. Let's go get a cup going.
I feel bad for Maple Leafs fans. Was it 1967?
I
think it's 67.
Maybe. And then you had the Oilers knock off the Kings 6-4.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That one's over. But this is an incredible stat because you want to talk about lowlights of your franchise. The Minnesota Wild lost last night, 3-2 to the Vegas Golden Knights. This is according to Opta stats. The Wild are the first team in Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, or NFL to make the playoffs 8 or more times in a 10-year span, but lose in the opening round every time.
Minnesota sports are cursed, man. Like legitimately. You think about the Vikings and like the crippling defeats they've had, the Gary Anderson missed field goal and falling short of Super Bowls. Like you just look at the Timberwolves and their history. Like it's just like on the Minnesota side of things for the Timberwolves. Do you know this is the first time in the franchise existence that they've gone to the playoffs 2 straight years and won a round?
Whoa, no.
First time in franchise history they've gone to the playoffs in back-to-back years and won a round.
They didn't do that like 03, 04,
Nope.
Troy Hudson, Kevin Garnett?
Nope.
Really?
First time in franchise history that they've won a round in back-to-back years.
Yikes.
That's what I mean. Minnesota sports are cursed, dude. Like
since Kirby Puckett and the
I was going to say, yeah, that's like the last great memory I got from them.
Look, man, when I was stationed in North Dakota, I had a bunch of Minnesota sports friends. Then they were always the most excited, but they also had the most crippling anxiety about their teams every year. Like just run through the list.
Maybe Vikings fans have a little bit of hope now. You got Kevin O'Connell. You don't have a quarterback.
I think Joe Mauer even ever got to the playoffs as a Twin, right? Like,
I think that's right. Yeah.
So I mean, just 30 years plus of futility.
If the Twins and Mariners would have like just converged and made one team during the Felix and Joe Mauer years,
oh god,
they would have been so good.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, could have had Torrey Hunter at the end of his career. I would have liked that.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done it. But let's expand baseball.
Hey, we want a team.
Diamond Project. Come on.
Yeah, there's plenty of players to go around. That's what they keep telling you. All right. A legend has stepping aside in the National Basketball Association. We knew that this was a possibility.
Yeah.
And it's pretty incredible what he was able to do. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Serving my
Fan. Danny Meringue.
I found 2 empty bottles of a particularly decent Chateau de Loire Bordeaux 57 in your rubbish.
Dusty Hera.
You went through my garbage?
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
I find it particularly offensive that you use them to wash down an order from something called Macho Taco.
And Portland's sports leader, 1080.
I would never drink a Bordeaux with a macho taco.
The Fan.
It was a burrito machisimo.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Friday afternoon. Thank you for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours, whether it's on 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. or the party people on the YouTube stream, youtube.com/1080am The Fan. Party on, party people. Let's get it. Look at this. It is 1 o'clock on the dot. Make it known. On the clock. Guess what we have? Guess. Fan Golf Classic. Hey, your local Toyota dealers present the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic out at Langdon Farms Golf Club Tuesday, June 24th. It's also brought to you by Henderson and Daughter Windows and Doors and Philbrook Law Accident and Injury Lawyers. June 24th. That is a Tuesday. Sign up at 1080thefan.com. Click on the old Fan Golf Classic logo there at 1080thefan.com. It'll take you right where you need to go in order to sign up your team, get more information. We will have Matt's Barbecue out there with catering for the post-round meal. We got all the fare that we usually do on the course out there. Food, bevies. We take care of you at the Fan Golf Classic. It's an awesome event. Come on out to Langdon Farms Golf Club Tuesday, June 24th, because your local Toyota dealers present the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic. Get it!
I'm excited.
I'm excited for you in your journey.
I've actually
tequila.
I've actually gone to hit a couple of balls this year, so hopefully my swing won't just look like ass like it did last year.
Just swinging the club a few times gonna get that for you.
I mean, just being able to like go to the range and hit the ball, I think that would that helps. So
it does.
it just
Or it can hurt you because you're just
Reinforcing.
reinforcing the bad habits that you have.
guys,
Is it getting better?
I'm a terrible golfer in general, so I
Yeah.
think just any practice will help at this point.
All right. I'm in. All right. Greg Popovich retired. Well,
I mean,
Greg Popovich is no longer coaching the
Yes.
San Antonio Spurs.
moving into a senior advisory role, and this was already coming very, very, very likely. The Spurs kept it under wraps for a long time, but when he had a stroke
In November.
in the NBA, we kind of knew, but you let them handle that kind of thing because it's very serious. And Mitch Johnson, the interim coach, was very, very, very likely going to get the job if Pop decided to step aside at the end of the season. But 3 weeks ago now, he had a mini stroke, and that's it. And
and I think even at the time, there was not a lot of optimism that he was going to be able to return because after his mild stroke, he was in a care facility for a very long time.
yeah, and I don't want to get into too much of it, but Pop lost his wife. 2 years ago, 18 months now, and it's when you get to that age and you lose your partner and stuff starts happening, it
Yeah,
is
it
unfortunately
deteriorated a little bit more quickly.
yeah, and it's unfortunately a sign of things to come. And look, I love Pop. I've been in dozens of Pop press conferences, and he's truly one of the best to ever do it. And I wish him nothing but the best. And the game's going to be worse off without him.
Yeah, it seems to everybody that he is a jerk and that he doesn't get it. There is no man who gets it more. Than Greg Popovich.
Yeah.
Because, and I've told this story before, but when they played the Spurs, the Blazers played the Spurs in the playoffs, I was covering Spurs shoot-arounds in their locker room. Pop is yucking it up and making jokes and having conversations with the media until the very first camera light or recorder gets brought out.
Yep.
And then the Pop that everybody sees on TV,
Switch.
he turns to that person.
Look, when Pop comes to Portland on road trips, he has a vineyard just down the street from where I live, and he makes an effort to go to the vineyard and grabs crates of wine to deliver to the Blazers.
Yeah,
like it's just that's a very subtle thing that he does, but like he does that kind of stuff. Like everyone loves Pop. Like when you hear the biggest hard asses in the NBA that have ever played for him, like Steven Jackson. Somebody says a sideways word about Pop, he'll tear your head off.
Yeah.
Like Pop is one of one.
Interesting dude, but also really damn good basketball coach and created dynasties, and they got very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But and look, it wasn't just one iteration of it though.
God no.
he kept doing it over and
4
over
different
again.
versions.
And you got to get really lucky to do it. And
Mhm.
he was looking for another one since he had Wimby.
Mhm.
But he's unable to finish that thing off. His other legacy, though, is not championships and coaching star players. That dude's coaching tree is insanity. And it's not just a coaching tree because we forget Pop went from the front office
Pop
to
was
the
the GM.
sidelines. And his front office coach, not coaching, his front office tree is just as big as his coaching tree. Kevin Pritchard came from
Yes.
the Pop tree.
That's where the Blazers got him from.
And Steve Kerr
Mhm.
falls into that. Like so many coaches that I was reading something that said that Greg Popovich is responsible for 23 head coaches in the NBA and WNBA,
Because Becky Hammond.
50 NBA assistants or head coaches in the collegiate, international, or G League levels. So 50 NBA assistants that he ended up, they parlay into head coaching jobs. And then 18 more assistants that left his coaching tree to go and be assistants elsewhere.
Like here's just a handful of names.
Think of that really quick, though. That is 91. Just ballparking 91 that he's turned out in his career.
And that doesn't account for the players that he coached that have gone on to coach.
Yeah.
Like that's it gets crazy. Like here are some of the names, okay? Ime Udoka, Becky Hammond, Sean Marks talking about GMs. I mean, you can say what you want about Brooklyn. They've made multiple star swings.
Yep.
Will Hardy, Jim Boylan, Jacques Vaughn, PJ Carlissimo, Mike Budenholzer. Like you just kind of go down the list. Like that's multiple title winning coaches.
Yep. Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's crazy.
That's just a little snippet of coaches that he's.
Yeah, and Kerr's in there.
Yeah.
Damon Stoudemire is in there who coached with Pop for a hot minute.
Who's now the head coach at Georgia Tech.
There's a lot of guys that his imprint was on, and he was there for so long.
Yeah, he took over as
long.
head coach after before the Duncan. No, yeah, before the Duncan draft is when he took over.
Yeah, 96, right?
Yeah.
And then I believe Terry Porter was also not only a player,
Yeah.
but an
Yep.
assistant before
Yeah.
he became a head coach on Pop's staff. So, yeah, a lot of guys.
Question for you. Do you know now the longest tenured head coaches in professional sport?
Ooh, in professional sports,
Like the NBA or all of them?
Any sport.
Tom-
Professional
Tomlin?
sport. Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
He is number 1, 18 years.
It drops off very quickly in the NBA. I know
I mean,
that.
Spo's got to be up there, right? Close
Yes.
to Tomlin.
He is tied for second
Yep.
at
Okay.
17.
Mike Malone was at year 10 and he got fired.
I'll tell you what, the top 10 in all sports, so you're talking MLB, NBA, NHL, NFL,
MLB has turned
Your
over
big four?
managers like crazy.
Yeah.
the number 10 is only 9 seasons.
Yeah, as I'm saying, there's been a lot of the long tenured guys.
Jared
stepped-
Bednar of the Avalanche.
Oh God,
Well, like Dave
has
Roberts.
he been there that long?
9 years.
Dave
Holy
Roberts has
crap.
only been in LA for like 10, 11 years. I mean, there's just not many
He is
guys.
tied for 8th with Brian Snitker, which is another surprising
That's
one for me in
weird.
Atlanta. Brian Snitker's been in Atlanta for 10 years. He and Dave Roberts are tied for 8th. And this one seems like he's been there way longer than those guys have, but it's only 1 year. Steve Kerr is 6th with 11 seasons. Kevin Nash in Tampa also at 11. Then you have Andy Reid and John Cooper of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are both at 12 seasons. Spoelstra and John Harbaugh at 17 seasons.
Let's
It's
forget
crazy
about
that
Harbaugh.
John has been there for 17 years.
Yep.
I don't think of it as being that long.
Nope.
No. Yeah,
He's
been there
won
for a
2
long
Super
time.
Bowls with 2 different regimes. Like, you
Yeah.
forget that.
So that just shows you how.
And Tomlin's an 18.
18
Yeah.
years. Yeah. Yeah. And Pop was damn near 30 years.
As the head coach, that doesn't count for also the GM time.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see if this list, because coaching kind of goes in waves and cycles, where the old guys filter out and then a young crop comes in. But how long are some of these guys going to stick around? Because we're already hearing about Sean McVay. Sean McVay's not even 40 yet.
No.
And it's like he just may retire and say,
I'm good.
I made really good money coaching, and I'll make even better money
As an analyst?
doing TV stuff. Like, why would I keep
and
on doing
and I
the
don't
grind?
have to go and grind.
And teams are shorter leashes and firing guys. It's going to be interesting to see how this list evolves over the years, because Kerr is at 6th on this list. Do we think that he's going to be coaching into his 70s?
God, no.
Because I don't think he will.
No.
I mean, I just don't see that happening for
I
him.
I could very easily see him hanging it up as soon as Steph does.
The guy that I could see, and this is like with one team, right?
Yeah.
Longest tenured with one team. The one guy that I could see outside of Tomlin, who's only got 2 more to go, is John Harbaugh sticking around, because we're already hearing about Spoelstra at 17 years. Like, there's a lot of smoke in Miami that Spo may not be long for that job,
There's plenty of stuff going on down there.
which is crazy.
There were rumors he was going to take over in San Antonio, which obviously didn't come to fruition.
Well, and with Reed's getting older. But there's been plenty of news and smoke around him doing 1 or 2 more years and hanging up.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. It's wild.
We're look, you have the new era in the NBA with the players, but you also have it with the coaches. Like, it's very much it's, number one, we've talked about this in college. It's becoming a younger man's game.
Yeah.
Just because of all the stuff that goes along with it. Like, if you look at college basketball, even the legends of the game, the Patinos and the Coach K is obviously gone.
Yeah.
Coach Cal, like, he goes to Arkansas. Like, the guys that have been, and there's been a ton of noise around Bill Self being done at Kansas. The thought was he might go to Texas when that job opened up.
And a lot of these guys are sitting there and they're looking at it with their boosters and saying, dude, I don't need to deal with you.
Yeah.
Look at my resume, and that used to be good enough, but it's not
It's
anymore.
what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Or yesterday.
Well, Greg Popovich no longer coaching. Look, thoughts are with Pop, because he may be a surly old son of a bee when he's doing his interviews, but he's a good dude and a damn fine coach. Going to be missed on the sidelines for San Antonio. Mitch Johnson, who took over for Pop this year, is the guy who's taken over, and I'm sure he'll do a fine job after they get Cooper Flagg in the lottery.
Jeez. It's worst nightmare over there. No.
Just tell me about it,
Life,
Schultzy.
life ain't fair, right?
Tell me about it. All right, let's get to some college football news and notes. Dan Lanning went duck hunting, and he got himself one. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome.
Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
All right, got some NFL newsies, notesies, nuggies that we can dance around. Oregon had their spring game on Saturday. We talked about that.
Yeah, you were down there.
Yeah, I was. Actually, I was on the sidelines doing the Oregon broadcast, and we had Dan Lanning did his halftime synopsis, did a little quick little questions, and he's always really good. Like, he doesn't just give me like nothing.
He doesn't go land danning.
Yeah, he'll talk. And he'll give you the coach speak, but he gives you his nuggies and assessments because he's honest.
Yeah.
Like, he's honest with his players. He's honest with everybody. I asked him about his assessment of the first half of the spring game, and it's a spring game, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting much. This is what his response was.
Some good, some bad. Hope we don't have to punt this year. Those aren't right yet. We got to get that figured out. But beyond that, there's a lot of good competition out there.
I hope we don't have to punt this year.
Yeah,
not in the second half of the spring game this year.
And there were a couple poor punts in that first half. And he is a guy that he talks about all the time. You hear about it from his players all the time. The competition culture of Oregon. 5 days after that spring game, James Ferguson tweeted out, "Duck Nation, I'm home." And he, if you're wondering who James Ferguson is, former Boise State punter. He's an Aussie. He's from Geelong, Victoria, down in Australia.
Didn't he have a boomer of a punt against the Ducks that backed them up?
I
Or
don't know.
was that in the playoff? I just remember one game where he had an absolute monster corner kick that backed the team up.
Yeah, well, he has a leg where he's outkicked his coverage a couple of times, and Tez Johnson returned a punt for a touchdown in that Boise State game that kind of turned it on its head because he's got a leg on him. Really, really good punter, and one of the guys that, hey, when you have he's an All-American at one point, but he's averaged 43.53 yards on 43 punts last season. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then in 2023, averaged 50 yards a punt.
Damn.
Good God.
I don't think the Ducks have ever had anybody close to that.
On 55 punts. And my favorite part about him, he's got a mullet and a mustache.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Take a look at that. Take a look at that.
Oh.
Tell me.
That guy just screams Aussie.
Yeah, right? Just right out of Central Casting. But Lanning obviously wasn't thrilled with the way that the punting was going during spring. Brought in some competition for Ross James and Luke Dunn. And it's that is what, when they say they create a culture of competitiveness, that's it. Yeah. Like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go out. If something didn't go right, we're going to fix that hole.
Fix it. The only not even criticism, the only unfortunate part of this is when you're talking about characters and being the part. I sent you the Vikings post-draft signing.
Oh, Tug Buck?
Tug Buck.
Dude.
What?
That was one of the greatest AI generated. Just Google Tug Buck. It's an AI generated
anything
photo.
naughty going to come up?
Well, probably. But it's for show research. We have it documented here, Schulte. Tug Buck is an AI generated photo, and these are fantastic because it looked like the Vikings graphic of a signing. And he is supposed to be a nose tackle from Idaho State.
Yep.
Basically, what they did was they made fat Jared Allen because Jared Allen went to Idaho State.
Wore the number 69.
Wore number 69, which is what Tug Buck wears. Had a mullet, had a handlebar mustache, but they just made Tug Buck a little bit fatter.
Yeah.
It was a dead ringer for Jared Allen.
The only note I have, instead of Tug Buck, Buck Tug.
Buck Tug. Now you're definitely going to get...
Yeah.
Now you're definitely going to
I bet you that's what they submitted. They submitted Buck Tug.
Yeah.
But they're like, it needs to be Tug Buck.
And if you fell for it, it is AI.
Yeah.
It's AI generated. It looks so real.
It's so good.
And it's so perfect.
No, it looks like a real picture, yeah.
Well, it looks 100% like a person that would walk into Pocatello, Idaho and go, yeah, I could see myself being here.
I could be here.
He's got a Kid Rock tattoo on his left arm. That's the sleeve that the biggest. That AI generation was on point. They really got backwoods country MF here for this defensive line.
You know what that guy says? Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
A lot of hell yeah, brother out here.
That is a 100% hell yeah, brother. We're gonna rock and roll with this thing, brother. The AI generated photos, that is going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for all of us, and it makes it hard. You really have to double check what you're falling for on the internet. It's got me back on my game because I felt like I was backsliding. You know, you could get ball sack sports. It can happen to you. You can get NBA centelled.
Oh God!
From time to time.
I've got them all blocked.
Well, they're getting creative now.
And they're pretty funny, frankly. Yeah. I don't want to block them because they add some entertainment value to my days.
But all of them, any of the spoof sites, all of them I have them blocked. So
but there's ones that but here's the thing. There's so many of them that they'll pop up and you're like, I don't know if I should believe this or not. And then that's when you got to go and double, because if it's too good to be true.
It's too good to be true.
It's too good to be true.
They're going to start like popping up with new ones Danny won't even realize. It's just like, can't block them fast enough. There's too many of these accounts out there.
Yeah. It's hell. The internet, very hard these days.
There used to just be The Onion, and that was it, right?
Yeah.
Like, God.
You know, what happened to the times where all the weird stuff was in those AOL chat rooms? Those are long gone.
Going back to like To Catch a Predator days, brother.
ASL, baby.
Yeah. Age, sex, location.
Oh, wow. I have not heard ASL like in 20 plus years.
It's not American Sign Language.
No, it is not.
No. Which would just...
For those that grew up in the bowels of the AOL chat rooms, the number of predators in there.
Well, think of this like being AIM, right? AOL Instant Messenger. You would just have this random person just bloop, and it'd be like ASL. Just a rando, just popping in. And it wasn't like, hey, it's like, no, hey, what's up with you? Just like, all right. I'm going to throw my hook in the water and see what bites here. They didn't know.
No.
They didn't know.
This is like the rainbow trout farm fishing.
It's wild. It was the wild, wild west out there. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, child predators back then. Boy, did they have it good.
I was going to say, a lot easier.
That's one way to think about it. I mean, it's not the way I think most people were thinking about this, Danny, but we'd expect nothing less from you.
I mean...
You think like a criminal, right?
Yeah, you know?
Think like a criminal. That's how you find them. That's how you find them.
In general, I think most criminals had it easier back then. Not just sex predators. Everyone. Murderers, thieves, all of them.
And this is a good point by P1 Jordan. Yeah, Dusty, good thing boomers are known for their willingness to fact-check internet headlines and memes. It doesn't take much. Yeah, how many times?
Did you read the article? No, I just saw the headline.
No. Well,
my mom on Facebook. Stop. Don't click that.
Yeah.
Don't click that. The email, don't click that.
Don't do it. Or it's like, if you would have clicked on that link, it would have had that, remember Wood, that dude? That's where that link was going. But no, you just read the headline and ran with it, and we're just like, no, I don't need the story. There was no story because the headline was fake. They wanted you to click on it, so you'd see this dude squatting down and... Yep. Golly.
That sucked.
All right. But when people would send those to you?
Yes, getting fooled with that link.
Man. R.I.P. to my great friend Ben. He would send those relentlessly.
Oh, God, yeah.
Just like relentlessly. And I mean, you say those were the worst. I wish I would have got one because, like, if I were to get one, it would have been from my friend who passed, and that's like one of the last jokes that he would pull on all of us.
Yeah,
you
did send Russ and I one.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, I was like, oh, you son of a.
That one was good. Though.
It was good. It was good.
It was good.
It was good. I laughed.
All right. We got one other college football here. No. So the 2027 class is already committing to schools. And there's a kid named Trey Taylor. And I don't think he needed to apologize, but I want to let the people be the judge of this. So he's from Carmel Catholic High School in Illinois, 4-star quarterback recruit. He was down to Illinois, home state, Nebraska, LSU, and Texas A&M. He's the nation's number 3 quarterback according to 24/7 Sports. In his announcement, he threw on an Illinois hat and dropped a, I'm going to stay home and go to Illinois. Then did the take the hat off, psych, and unzips. He's wearing a Nebraska shirt, says I'm going to Nebraska. He later posts a video apology saying, I didn't mean to upset people. It's not who I am. I want to be and not how I want to be perceived. I know it was very disrespectful. I really just want to get on here and say it's not who I am and what I want to be known as. Moment got to me a little bit. I just want to say I'm sorry.
I look, I don't think he needs to apologize per se, but why?
Because he's seen it on the internet so many times.
And how many
right?
times? And who does it work out for?
I don't know.
I don't think it ever does you any favors.
Yeah.
It's one thing to do the hang it over your head like
but he took it too far with the I'm staying home.
Yes, like that's
going to
like
Illinois.
You could tease a little bit and then put it back down. Who was it when their mom lost their mind?
Like walked off the set?
Yeah, it was a big time recruit.
She
And
was
it
a
worked
Tennessee girl, and he went to
really well for
Alabama.
him. Was that?
It was an
I
SEC.
wanna
It was
say-
SEC.
no,
I
was-
just saw that clip like a day ago.
I
God,
think-
who was it?
Was it Dre Kirkpatrick maybe or Minka Fitzpatrick?
It was a big time recruit. I remember that.
Yeah.
I just can't remember who it was. But that one was like she was visibly pissed. Like she's like, "How dare you go out of
talking
state?"
Jacob
interview.
Copeland or no?
No.
That's not it. Damn it.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember who it was.
I think that is. It's Jacob Copeland. He chose Florida, not Alabama. And his mom, who had a Tennessee beanie on, literally got
that's
up
what
and
it was.
walked off.
Yeah.
So Jacob Copeland.
Oh, and she was wearing a Tennessee beanie with an Alabama shirt, and his grandma was crying, and he was wearing a Florida hat. Boy. Well, you want to know why she was so mad? The bag of money.
Is that what came out later?
Landon Collins is the one. Landon Collins' mom went ape S too.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked out for him.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah,
Landon
really
Collins was really good.
I think that's the one I was thinking of because he was a high.
Nah,
recruit.
my bad.
Yeah.
No, Copeland is another one though. But
Yeah.
that you're the one that Landon Collins is the one I'm
Landon
thinking of.
Collins
Yeah.
was it. But there have been ones where I remember a handful of years ago, there was a recruit who could not get his he couldn't get his NIL or his national letter of intent, NLI,
Mm-hmm.
to the school because he had signed at home and had to go to the school to his high school to fax it
Mhm.
because nobody has a fax machine. His mom took the letter and ran.
What a bee.
She was like, no, I'm gone. Which, if I'm the coach of whatever school he signed with, I'm probably going,
That's a problem I don't want.
helicopter mom here.
Mm.
Yeah. I'll look that one up in the
Yeah.
break. I'll get that one back in the break because that was bonkers.
It's-
She was gone for like hours.
That's-
Nobody knew where she was for like hours.
That's
It
insane.
was a big signing day story.
Well, way to rip the kid away from your moment, or the moment away from your kid. You
Yeah.
just kind of took it for yourself.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
hard pass. But no, this kid with the Illinois-Nebraska part of this, it's one thing to tease it a little bit. He just went too far with the full flip.
Oh, it was Alex Collins,
Oh, there you go.
who was actually good at Arkansas.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this was 2013. His mom stole her son's national letter of intent, then ran away and hid so her son couldn't fax his official papers. 4-star running back from Plantation, California, wanted to go to Arkansas. His mother wanted him to stay close to home. Damn.
I mean, God, that's like a big rift. I don't know if they're still talking, right? Like, that's a... Jeez.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And this was a tweet at the time. ESPN says Alex Collins' mom stole his letter of intent so he couldn't sign with Arkansas. If he can't run her down, he should be in the Big Ten anyways.
That's perfect. It's perfect. I love it. I love it. All right.
That's savage.
Coming up next, worst day on the web. And no, it's not Dusty slanging burritos in a unitard at the Golf Classic, although.
Oh, Alex Collins died.
Oh.
He died.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, in 2023. I had no idea. Rest in peace, Alex Collins.
That's a bummer.
Damn. Yeah.
I've got sour real quick. But yeah, no, Dusty and the unitard, not on the worst day on the web. Well, as we get closer to the golf tournament, maybe. You ever see those movies where the truck spills over with money and the people go scrambling for it?
Absolutely.
What if they did that, but it was with one of the most useless currencies unknown to man and how difficult it would be to pick up? That's our worst day on the web. But first, here's Jordan Schultz with the Sports Center update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on the Fan, one NBA playoff game on the schedule tonight. The Golden State Warriors have a 3-2 lead over the Rockets, looking to eliminate them in Game 6 as a 5.5-point favorite. Tip-off for that one set for 6 p.m. on ESPN. The Memphis Grizzlies hiring interim coach Tuomas Isalo to be their next full-time man. He replaced Taylor Jenkins back in March and now becomes the first Finnish-born head coach in NBA history. Big news elsewhere around the association is the San Antonio Spurs announcing that Greg Popovich will no longer coach the team, but transition to a full-time role as the organization's president. They're promoting Mitch Johnson to roam the bench. He's been with the team over a decade and took over when Pop had a mild stroke back in November. Over in golf, the second round of the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson suspended still because of a weather delay, lightning happening earlier in the morning. Scotty Scheffler, the leader at 12 under through 9. Jonathan Vegas nipping at his heels. He was at 10 under through 7 before the suspension. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they
It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
We leave the sunny confines of Florida, but keep it mostly in the south.
Florida man.
About an hour north of Dallas, Texas. In the town of Alvord.
All right.
A truck. I'm trying to think of the particular name for the currency carrying truck.
A Brinks
truck.
Yeah, but
money truck, armored vehicle,
Yeah,
armored
truck.
Well, it's a little bit different than that because it was coming. I believe I was reading this. It was coming from one of the depositories. It spilled over carrying $800,000 in dimes.
$800,000 in dimes.
That's a lot of dimes. What's in a roll of dimes? Let's do this math here.
Is that like? I'm no math. I'm horrible at math. That's like 8 million dimes, right?
Yeah.
And a full roll is $5. So that's a lot of rolls. Good God.
Oh my gosh. So if there's $5 in that roll, that is a lot of rolls.
You said 800?
800,000.
I'm just pulling the calculator out. I can't do this quick math.
40,000?
Yeah.
Rolls?
Yep.
40,000 rolls? Holy crap. Did they all break open and scatter? What do we have? Do we just have rolls of dimes?
So these were newly minted dimes. So these are not in
they're
circulation.
freshies.
That's what I was saying. I was trying to remember the actual
Freshies.
It's the Department of Treasury, but it's I can never remember the actual name for the trucks that they use. But they had to go out there with hydrovacs.
Oh God!
And they basically exploded over the highway. And I'm showing Dusty right now.
So did the mad dash? Because like you'll see this from time to time, where it's usually like in Florida, where they're driving down the road and the back of the Brinks truck is open and $100 bills are flying and people are just going crazy. Was it one of those situations, or did people not quite understand what was going on because there's a bunch of teenagers who don't know what change is and only use card?
Because it's carrying that much currency, there's security on board and there's escort vehicles. So when it happened.
Ooh.
It was blocked off immediately. Because this is coming from the Department of Treasury.
All right.
So
we didn't have any shenanigans here. How'd it fall off? They hit just like a pothole and how does this happen?
It doesn't say. It just says it rolled.
So the truck rolled?
The driver veered off the road and it rolled over.
Oh. I'm going to chalk it up to an armadillo.
There you go. They are tough.
Armadillo in
they're
the
also kind
road.
of cute. You don't want to run them over.
Don't they carry leprosy?
They carry something.
I think they carry leprosy.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's like
don't kiss an armadillo.
No, definitely. They're cool looking though.
Yeah.
He's got his own armor.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
But they're also like kind of like rat looking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's an arm.
So
it's
I'm not
going to
call it
armor.
I'm not going to call it adorable.
It's definitely not adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these guys were out. They had this crew come out there with these hydrovacs that they're just literally running it up and down the street and the grass and the mud, because what these things will do is it sucks it through with the water and it just filters the dimes through.
You think that truck driver's thinking like, think I'm gonna lose my job?
No kidding.
And they go, hell yeah, brother.
What's worth more? The $800,000 in dimes, or about the amount of money they're spending cleaning this up?
The dimes.
You think it costs more than $800,000 to clean that up? I think the dimes.
Well, you got to shut it down. You have to do the search.
Yeah.
You've got they have like 4 or 5 trucks out there.
I'll tell you what,
it's probably 25 employees out there.
They could make it way less expensive.
They could.
All you gotta do is just get some old retired guys have no better things to do than walk around like parks with metal detectors and stuff. Those guys will find all them dimes. And you could say, you keep, 10% of what you find. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
You clean that whole thing up. Because I'm assuming not all $800,000 left.
No, I mean,
not all $800,000 came off the truck. But you say you just keep, 10, 20% of whatever you find. And you guys, it's your retirement plan. You guys are bored anyways.
Did you see the other roadside event that happened this weekend in Florida?
No.
I
don't keep up on my Florida roadside
events. This
though.
one went pretty viral. There's I think it goes by like Barefoot Grunt or something like that. He's a Marine.
This sounds right.
Like an 8-foot alligator was in between traffic. Like there's a little gully in between east-westbound highway lanes.
Yeah.
And Animal Patrol and the cops just couldn't get this. This dude looking like jacked Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah. Like the cut-off flannel, jean shorts, barefoot.
Yeah. Well, you can't do it in shoes.
He's not like an animal wrangler, but he was like I can do this.
Well, I assume anybody dressed like that is an animal wrangler
But
of some sort.
He just gets behind this thing, grabs it. I mean, he's a big dude. He's like 6'3", 6'4", like 260, just jacked out of his mind. But just manhandles it by the tail, gets up, sits on it, does the whole gator snout thing, reaches in his pocket, pulls out the duct tape, and just walks this thing over. And the cops are just like, the hell? Just some random social media influencer just driving by.
Wait, he's an actual influencer?
Oh yeah, no. Like he's a full on social media.
What does
just
he do on his
just
channel?
just random stuff.
Like that?
Yeah, just a random dude.
Yeah,
just does stuff.
I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna get that gator.
Yeah, but he doesn't talk like that. He's a Marine. Like he's just crazy.
Some Marines don't talk like that.
I was gonna say there's got to be a couple.
There's not a lot of Cajun Marines.
That's fair.
I just assume that somebody who's wrangling gators like that is Cajun.
See, well, yes, but you assume the Cajun there, but the Marines, the Cajuns, they're militia. They don't ever enlist.
Yeah, they're not going into something actually organized.
No. It's their own private military.
All right, that's fair.
There's a little. This is a cut above.
Okay, all right.
And again, this guy is jacked beyond all belief, and you're just like, so does this kind of come out of the womb in Florida?
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Well, it depends on what part of Florida you're in. I mean, if you're like northern Florida,
getting up in the
absolutely.
Panhandle.
Yeah, if you're in the Panhandle, faux show.
That's basically Alabama.
If you are Everglades, yeah.
Yeah, once you get north of Lake Okeechobee, it turns into swamp people. There was another worst day on the web I was going to throw in here. It was Florida adjacent. A man was arrested for having 3 different wives in 3 different counties in Florida.
That sounds miserable.
Why would you want that?
But I saw that TLC is doing one of their new reality shows is about a polyamorous throuple.
Yeah.
Relationship.
There's also
in Oregon.
Yeah,
in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Oregon,
and there's also the Sister Wives one, which is in Utah.
Yeah, but it ain't legal here, so I don't know if they are married or not. But it's really putting Oregon on the map. Yeah. Something tells me Klamath.
Sister wives are down to just a couple too, so all the other wives left.
Oh, no way.
That's shocking.
I wonder why.
You could even tell, I just saw the promo 20 years ago when the latest wife got married to that dude, and you could just see in the commercials, it's like, he does not care about any of the other 3 ladies. It is all about this new one. How are you not picking up on this?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the situation they're in is...
I know.
Hold on. Let's see.
It took them 20 years, but they got out of it.
Polyfamily premiered on Tuesday.
They're in Portland, right? Not just Oregon.
The series follows a closed polyamorous quad. Oh. 4 adults who are living and raising their children together in Lebanon.
Oh.
Yeah. That
fits.
Yep. That's a straight line.
It's not quite where I was thinking, but it's not far.
No.
I mean, Klamath was my number one go-to.
Yeah.
Then it's like Lebanon's pretty close to I-5. I was figuring you had to go off I-5.
There had to be some sort of mountain range that separated you from I-5.
Well, at least 20 miles in either direction of I-5. I felt like that's where we would be. That's not Lebanon, but yeah, I don't know.
If you had told me Dallas, Oregon, would have believed it.
But this is the interesting part. This quad. 2 dudes, 2 women.
Okay.
So they just were like, you know what? We really get along.
They went beyond the devil's threesome.
Well, so they're just swapping. Yeah. That's what they're doing.
But also living together.
But are the guys or girls also having relations with each other? Or is this just a straight couple swap? There's 7 different ways to do this here.
Alyssa and Taya have given birth to 2 other children, and the couples have decided against learning who the biological fathers are to, quote, avoid jealousy and remain committed and equal parents.
Well, sorry, one still isn't, even though if you don't want to know it, that's ridiculous. That's just bury our heads in the sand, whatever.
Well, I mean, I feel like you could figure this one out and be like, well, Sean is a redhead.
No, it's a real easy way to do it.
Tyler has black hair. I think we can figure this one out pretty quickly.
Mhm.
I think that's not going to be a hard one to do.
Yeah, it's $90. You can figure it out real quick.
And what do we?
23andMe, go get. Well, they went bankrupt, didn't they?
Well, you're
I
pushing.
think they did.
They did. You're pushing the jealousy off by like
They got
4 or
bought
5
out by
years.
somebody.
That's all you're doing. Because eventually, like you said,
No,
you'll
they
see the
bankrupt.
features. So
Yeah, we'll find out.
you'll know. You're
They're-
just pushing off the knowledge.
TLC knows what they're doing. They're just going to have a spin-off in like 15 years of this show in all
Of
their
those
other
kids.
shows. Yeah. So be like, hey,
It's
look,
family business.
this is like
Being a complete mess on national TV.
Yeah, like have any of the kids from Teen Mom turned into a Teen Mom themselves? Full circle.
No,
It's
one of them
gonna-
turned into a porn star though. So
God, Jesus.
what?
Why am I not
Oh,
surprised?
Yeah. Huh. All right.
Mhm.
Well, there we go.
So there you go. That's our worst day on the web. We took a lot of paths down there.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people that are old and have kids following the family business, LeBron James left the end of the season with a bit of an injury now, and there's also some news about what LeBron may or may not do and how it may influence Luka Doncic coming up. We'll get to that next year on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Well, as the season comes to an end, you get the season triage, as it were, of, for this time, the Los Angeles Lakers. And David McMenamin of ESPN, plugged into L.A., says that LeBron James suffered a grade 2 MCL sprain in Game 5. And, I mean, that's kind of the reason why they ended up where they did.
Yeah, dang.
Oh, that's why they ended up where they did? That's really that's the reason why.
What a stud supporting cast they've got in LA.
Yeah. I feel like this happens every time. Remember when LeBron had basically a broken hand? Remember that? But it was He basically had a broken hand. It's like, well, I don't think that's how it goes. Either you have a broken hand or you don't. When LeBron gets bounced early in the playoffs, and this is like, I love LeBron James. This is like my criticism of him is that there is so much water that is carried to make it look like there's no way that this possibly could have happened.
Yeah, I mean look, I believe it. He's 40 years old. Like I mentioned this because it's so stupid. He's 3 months younger than me, and he's still doing what he's doing. It's otherworldly. Do I believe that he got hurt? Yeah, I do. But it is funny that like instead of just taking care of it, it's like, oh no, the MCL game. Well, it's game 5, dude. Like you're done. The worst of it was the one you pointed out when he showed up at the press conference with the thing on his hand. Like,
yeah,
come on, dude.
When you lose a series 4-1, I think there were other issues there. Now, his game 5, it was brutal for him, and he didn't look right, and he went down in a heap with that knee.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a sleeve on that leg, and it didn't look good. But that's not why they lost that series.
No.
And it's not why they weren't going to win it. It's why they weren't going to win a championship this year.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, though, is that, and I'll defend LeBron on this, is that people are so quick to be like, Jordan would have never. Well, Jordan also had some pretty damn good teams around him as well all the time that were complete rosters. You can say what you want about Luke Longley, but the dude was a big-ass human being who filled space in the middle. They didn't have that in L.A. this year.
Well, they did in Alex Len, but just not playable.
Yeah, they had a bunch of playable dudes.
Because Len is huge. That's his one NBA talent. He's a monster.
He had Scottie Pippen, a top 50 player of all time. He had Steve Kerr or Tony Kukoc.
Or Rodman.
Dennis Rodman. I mean, Horace Grant.
There's no shortage.
He had a bunch of dudes that they surrounded him with year in and year out. Now, Michael Jordan had that killer instinct in him, and he never failed. Full stop.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan is my number 1, by the way.
That's fair.
I don't
argue.
him.
As long as it's one of those two, unless you're one of those Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and you're like 70 years old, and you're like you want to die on that hill, fine.
But
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's Jordan and Braun.
Say that, like to sit there and be like, see, this is why he'll never be Jordan. It's like,
really? Because Jordan didn't play at 40.
Well, do you remember watching Jordan with the Wizards?
Yeah, he wasn't doing this. No.
It's incredible what LeBron James
the
is
longevity and peak of LeBron James. Like he was 25, 8-5 this year.
And if Michael Jordan never goes and plays baseball, it's not even a conversation because they would have run away with those 2 years too.
Yeah. So more came out of this as well, though, because LeBron James, he has a player option next year. I mentioned this yesterday. The intel, as it were, the noise behind the scenes in Los Angeles is that LeBron James is not going to opt into the player option. He is going to opt out and sign another 1-1.
So he's not going to take was it $54 million was his player option for this year?
52 or 54. But here's the thing. If he does truly want to win a title, does he take the pay cut? But if you're LeBron, you're like, screw this. I'm not going to take the pay cut. Remember Kobe. The reason they couldn't build around Kobe is Kobe's like, that's $60 million a year.
Yeah, but Kobe didn't have the absolute empire that LeBron's built up. I feel like at this point, LeBron's got so many dollars coming in from so many sources, he'd be an idiot not to say, yeah, let's give it one more run. But what's the difference for him, especially with California taxes, a $15, $20 million maybe missed year of salary, as opposed to a title in the bank?
Well, Kobe did have a very lucrative deal with Nike that he was getting a big chunk of profits on. Now, it's not, they didn't make him a billionaire like they did LeBron James.
No.
But there's also an aspect that people hate to talk about, but it's very true. These stars don't want to be a guy who sets a precedent in any way, shape, or form. Because the moment that the best player in the league takes a pay cut, every other front office is going to every agent and every other player who is a lesser and saying, look, dude, LeBron James did it to win a title. Why aren't you?
Yeah.
And that's a very real thing in professional sports.
Front offices will 100% use that as leverage.
Yep. I mean, Rudy Gay did it to take a minimum deal with the Spurs, and then
Rudy Gay is not LeBron James.
No, but
that's the thing is like ring chasing end of your career with guys who haven't gotten one, or
Gary Payton, Karl Malone,
are not the thing about LeBron is he can't do it because he's the face of the league.
Yeah.
Like even Gary Payton and Karl Malone were not the face of the league.
But they still got paid too. It wasn't a league minimum that they got. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Gay, I literally think he gave up like $10 to $20 million just to go sign them in.
So what is LeBron? What can LeBron sign the 1-1 for in LA?
I think it can actually go very high. I think it can get up to 62. I think is the most. I got double check the math on it.
Would 40 be a number that you're sitting there and you're looking at and you're saying, dude,
it'd probably give him full access to the MLE, which you can go get somebody with that.
If LeBron comes back, because I think even if he was at like $45 million, the way he performed this year, he didn't fall off a cliff at all.
He's a legitimate number 2. He's a legitimate number 2 in the NBA still.
And they have a number 1.
Yes. And that LeBron James was asked about that as it pertains to Luka Doncic and his decision. He was asked about Luka's decision. LeBron James says, that ain't my job. I know. Luka knows how I feel about him. Ultimately, that trade happened for the future. That's not for me. Luka has to decide what he has to do with his future. He's 26. I'm 40, so he can't be basing his career off me. That's just real. But I hope, obviously, he stays long-term. Laker fans bleeping love him here. LA has accepted him. We love him as a teammate, as a brother, but ultimately he's going to make a decision for him. Bleep, I ain't going to be around much longer.
Yep. From what JJ Redick said, from what LeBron James said, Nico Harrison was foolish for what he did. Nico Harrison is not wrong. These guys have been
entirely, no.
These guys have been with Luka Doncic for a few months now, since February. So what, 3 months? He needs to get in shape. He needs to play defense. He needs to commit. That is the star player and the head coach both saying echoing those 3 things. And LeBron saying he's a grown ass man. This is on him to do it. And he's got to be the one that turns that corner on his own. What Nico Harrison said was right. What he said was right. The way he went about trading Luka Doncic was horrific. The way he handled the aftermath,
irredeemable.
Horrific. He didn't shop him. He didn't get the best deal.
Didn't even get the best deal from the team that he traded him to.
And they never signaled that it was ever going to happen. No. And so you caught your fan base completely off guard the year after he backpacks you to an NBA Finals.
It's insane. What's interesting here, though, from the LeBron standpoint.
But he wasn't wrong.
This is LeBron ceding control to Luka.
Yeah, it is.
The whole, this is an admission it's not my team anymore. And this is the closest he's ever come to this.
Well, he's already got his kid on the team, so it's Bronny's team. Maybe he's not giving it to Luka. Maybe he's giving it to Bronny.
There you go. No. But this is what I meant when the whole idea of when people are like, oh, is LeBron done? No, he's not done. Yeah. He's not done. He's going to get the full-on Nike tour, and it's going to be egregious and ridiculous. But
does he play in Portland?
Well, I wonder though,
when the Lakers come here, not for the Blazers, by the way.
What is Luka going to sign up for that?
Being the face of the Lakers is different than the Mavericks. And it comes with far more responsibility that you have to live up to. Because they will turn on your ass real quickly.
I mean, there's still a portion of the fan base that has never fully embraced LeBron James.
Yeah.
And in LA.
They have turned on Pau Gasol. They turned on Shaq. They never turned on Kobe.
Which
they never will turn on Kobe. There's a history. But Kareem even had a tough time with them, and he's the all-time scoring leader. They never turn on Magic because those are their guys, right? For whatever reason,
they're lifers.
They're guys.
Yeah, they're lifers. But it is interesting. There's kind of this dynamic that's shifting for the first time in LeBron James' career, and it took to 40. I've already seen people say it online. Have fun in Germany, Bron.
That's messed up, dude.
Enjoy your time.
For the PRP treatment.
Yeah. Just
that's what he goes and does.
Just heading over there for that.
Yeah, that is what he goes over there for.
That's what Kobe did too.
Yeah, that is why Kobe went for the PRP.
Yeah, good PRP over there.
Yeah,
definitely. All right, coming up in hour number 3. It's not the worst trade, but it's definitely a trade that has been circulating. It was put out by a couple of writers from The Athletic. I've narrowed down the writer, and I've already texted him.
Oh.
I was like, I don't like this, man. I don't like this. It does involve Giannis, and it doesn't involve the Trailblazers. We'll get that next here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
I'm Michael Jenkins here to help you beat the books with the
from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, one game only on the NBA playoff slate tonight. The Golden State Warriors up 3-2 over the Rockets, going for that Game 6 elimination. Golden State a 5.5-point favorite. Tip-off set for 6 p.m. on ESPN. Elsewhere around the association, the Memphis Grizzlies hiring interim coach Tuamasi Salo to be their next full-time head man. He replaced Taylor Jenkins back in March and now becomes the first Finnish-born head coach in NBA history. The San Antonio Spurs also announcing that Greg Popovich will no longer coach the team, but will transition to a full-time role as their president. They're promoting assistant Mitch Johnson to roam the bench now. He's already been with the team for over a decade and took over when Pop had a mild stroke back in November. And in baseball, the Mariners going for their 8th straight series win, hitting the road to face the Texas Rangers this afternoon. Brian Wu v. Jack Leiter on the bump. First pitch at 5:05 on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan. Danny Meringue.
Dusty Bun?
Dusty Hera.
I've been really busy. I'm trying to save the world from Russians and monsters.
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and Portland's sports leader.
Of course you have.
1080.
I want to hear it.
The Fan.
Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty on a Friday afternoon, whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080am The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080am The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for being here on this wonderful Friday. It's a hell yeah, brother Friday. And I'll tell you right now, it's a hell nah, brother, to this particular trade package. There are, The Athletic took a group of writers, Tony Jones, Sam Vecini, Eric Nem. Eric Nem is the beat writer for the Milwaukee Bucks. He was the judge, jury, and executioner for all these different transactions. And David Aldridge, DA, all-time legend, basically doing the primer for Milwaukee Bucks trade packages that could potentially be out there for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And they did a couple different teams. I'm also going to walk through kind of the myriad of transactions here. It starts with Giannis to San Antonio, which I think San Antonio can put together a very good package, but it's going to cost them basically everything not nailed down named De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. That's where, at least where I sit. The trade they put together, it is a 3-way deal, and you're going to see this pop up, I think, a lot in transactions where one of New Orleans or Portland will be involved. They control the Milwaukee Bucks draft future. I've been saying
Pick
this
swaps all around.
I have been saying this since it became a thing that was gathering momentum. Do not be surprised to see Portland or New Orleans or both participate in this transaction, because depending on what the Bucks get back, if they're going to reset and go young, they need their picks.
Yep.
So there's leverage for both New Orleans and Portland to get something done here. First package, it involves the Bucks, Pelicans, and Spurs. The Bucks would get, combined from both teams, Zion, Keldon Johnson, a 2025 first-round pick from the Spurs, which is from the Hawks, a 2027 first-round pick swap rights with the Pelicans, 2029 first-round pick from the Spurs. That swap right is their own swap back.
Yeah.
The Pelicans would get Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Pat Connaughton, and the 2027 first-round pick that the Spurs got from the Hawks in the Murray deal.
Now, it should be noted that over the next, is it 7 drafts, the what are they? Spurs have 37 picks.
Mm-hmm. Now that's first and seconds, and
yeah, but they have
varying levels of picks.
They have a ton of draft capital over the next 7 drafts,
and the Spurs would get Giannis in this deal. And Eric Nem, again, judge, jury, and executioner. His reaction: this is nowhere near enough for Antetokounmpo. Williamson, while incredibly talented, is nothing more than a lottery ticket. In 6 seasons, he's played 214 of 472 games. we know what's at. Basically, Nem is saying no, not enough.
Because now, who are the names that they actually get?
The
in
Bucks?
Philly? Yeah.
The guys they would
Or
actually
in
get,
Milwaukee.
the two players they would get are Zion and Keldon Johnson.
No.
Zion, really?
No. That's not
I know that's
enough.
all New Orleans has got, but come on.
That
And
ain't
then they
enough.
would get some of their draft capital and a little bit of draft capital. There's no premium asset in there.
That ain't it, dog.
Okay. This one was put together because, again, I don't think this is anywhere close to happening. But based on intel, Giannis wants to go to a big market. So Giannis to Philly is discussed. The Bucks would get Paul George, Jared McCain, a 2025 first, a 2028 first from the Clippers, a pick swap from the Clippers, and a 2030 first, and the Sixers would get Giannis. Nem basically says, hell no, God no.
No.
No. It's a hard no. He says this is insulting. The Bucks will be taking positive assets only in any trade conversation.
Yeah, you're not taking Paul George. Not doing it.
Here's one. I saw some Raptors fans like, oh, the Raptors should go after Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I'm like, so they can give up Scotty Barnes? Because you're not keeping him. Are you out of your mind?
That's the only asset that anybody would want.
Yeah. And so here's a trade package for Toronto. Giannis to Toronto, just 2-team transaction. The Bucks would get Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, because you got to make the salary work because Giannis makes a crap ton. Grady Dick, 2027 first, 2029 first, 2031 first, all top one protected. 2028 pick swap and a 2030 swap between the Milwaukee with the second choice of the Bucks, Blazers, and Raptors, because there is a pick swap bundle in 2030. And the Raptors would get Giannis and Kyle Kuzma. Nem said there will be no protections on any picks sent in any trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Nope.
Giannis is not on an expiring deal. It's multiple years left on his deal, and he's in his prime, and he just had another season where he averaged 30, 12, and 6.
And by the way, that 2031 pick, that would be part of this deal that Milwaukee would get. What year do the Blazers get the Bucks first round pick?
Ding, 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 ding.
2031.
Here's the one that brings in the Portland Trailblazers. And this is not the transaction I would go down, but it is the manner of which Portland would peel something off in a trade that involved Giannis. To me, the two teams that I think Portland would want to be involved with are Houston and Orlando. Those are the two teams that I would look at as teams that have players the Blazers would like to acquire. The trade. The Bucks would get Amen Thompson, which I'm telling you right now, I just don't see the Rockets doing it even for Giannis. They can have anyone else on that roster. I don't see them giving up Amen, but that they put him in here. Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, because they have to make the salary work, Cam Whitmore, Donovan Clingan, a 2025 first via Phoenix, Phoenix's 2027 first, the 2029 first of the most favorable of Milwaukee, Portland, and Washington. That is the one that Portland controls.
Yep, Portland has that.
And the Washington Wizards have the second most valuable pick in that draft. Portland owns right now the first and the third. That was part of the Denny Avdia trade. And then 2028 and 2030, Milwaukee swap rights extinguished, which the Blazers own. Okay. The Rockets would get Giannis and Jeremy Grant. So if you're paying attention now, that's Donovan Clingan, Jeremy Grant, and all of the Bucks capital back.
Okay.
The Blazers would get Alperen Şengün and Jacques Landale.
Şengün I like, but at the risk of all of those. Now, the one that is sneaky in this is that 2029 most favorable pick from Milwaukee, Portland, Washington, because Washington is in that.
Yes.
Washington is in that. And if you do this deal, Milwaukee won't be the one that has the most favorable pick.
Milwaukee would be.
No. I'm saying, or if you don't, like if you do
this. Oh,
this,
you do this trade, yeah.
I mean, you're basically sitting there and saying, Milwaukee, you're going to be good again.
Well, goodish.
Yeah. Washington, that's a great one to have, because do we have any faith that Washington is going to figure it out? Even though they started to at the end of this past year, that is a franchise that is poorly run right now. And getting Şengün, that's attractive, but at the same time,
you're spending
losing
most of your capital.
And you're losing Donovan Clingan. You're losing your center and you're shipping out Jeremy Grant.
Now
That's going to happen.
You're
this
getting
year
a center
anyway.
back, and you're getting a very
Getting
good
a center.
And Şengün is a very good center. But when we talk about salary cap allocations, Şengün's on a pretty good deal. He's on a pretty good deal. I'm going to pull it up because I know his and Jalen Green's are a little bit different.
But no draft picks for the Blazers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the Dame trade, all of your Dame trade goes out the door for Alperen Şengün.
Yeah, you're literally giving up, I would say, 2 good players and all of your other assets and getting none back except a player. And I don't know how long his contract lasts, but then the Blazers are probably going to have to turn around and give him more money.
No,
he's on such a good deal.
Şengün's locked up. They just signed him to they gave Jalen the 3-year deal with the option. It was kind of like a weird, like, hey, if you prove it, great. If not, we're going to rinse our hands of you. Şengün got the 5-year deal.
Okay.
But he didn't get the full crazy max. He got it was 5 years, what was it? 5,185. So these average annual salary is about 37, 38. Like right, I think it's 37 is the exact number. But he starts at 33, just short of 34 next year. His player option in 29-30 is 39. Which, as a percentage of the cap, his deal goes from 22% next year of the total cap down to 17.2% percent of the cap in 2029-30. Here's the thing. I like Şengün, and he actually is a good defender. Like, even though you don't think of him as being a good defender because he's kind of heavy-footed, slow feet, quick brain. He's actually okay as a rim protector. But if the Blazers were to do this, like, that's it, man.
Yeah,
you've spent your like. The other assets you have to work with are Shea, Scoot, Tu, Denny, Ant.
Yep.
That's it. And keep in mind, you still have a $35 million expiring contract of DeAndre Ayton.
Bingo. And that's going to be the interesting part about Milwaukee and if Portland's involvement in it. Because they're going to want the pick swaps back, which, okay, but what are you going to be getting in return? DeAndre Ayton seems like the piece that may be going in this because you could send, instead of Jeremy Grant in this deal, DeAndre Ayton, and it's 1 year, right? Jeremy Grant has got, 2 or 3 left on his deal?
Yeah, 3.
3?
Yeah.
So the expiring big deal in DeAndre Ayton, probably more attractive for Milwaukee because they're not going to be winning next year. They're looking for the future, and you need fresh bodies. Brook Lopez is old, and his contract is up right now. They need a big. You can get a serviceable big that is in there. You send DeAndre Ayton in that. That one would make more sense as part of this deal than sending Donovan Clingan and sending Jeremy Grant out.
Look, I know people feel a certain way about Jeremy. There are a handful of teams that still want Jeremy Grant. I know that to be true. Now, whether or not the Blazers want those packages or not, that's up for them to decide. But here's what Nem had to say about this. I still need some more in this package, but this is getting pretty close. Eric Nem is about as in tight with the Bucks as anybody is with a team in the league. Nem is thoroughly entrenched. He has a great relationship with the front office and with Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I say that to preface this. So Sam Vecini is the one that came up with this trade, and he goes, Sam was right to get the Bucks back in control of their picks from the Blazers between 2028 and 30. I think that is one of the most valuable things the Bucks can acquire in any Antetokounmpo trade because getting rid of one of the best players on the planet while not controlling your picks is bad business. This is why I keep reiterating the value of the Blazers owning the Bucks' future. Whatever they do, they're gonna call Portland.
Portland's got to be in it. And
if
you have to leverage. If they're not, you have to use that leverage though to not give up Donovan Clingan and the pick that you're getting from them anyway.
Picks,
well,
because there's swaps because you don't control it. Because if you're going to be bad, the Blazers like great. Well, look, the Houston Rockets, they have a lottery pick this year because of the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's top 4 protected or tops.
No, I think it was only top 4 because the Sixers was top 6. But actually, no, I believe that one's unprotected. The Sixers was only top. Yeah, because the Rockets can win the lottery and get Cooper Flag.
I mean, Danny, you're way more in tune with the NBA circles than I am, so maybe you can help me understand why it just seems like this is almost the same message that Portland got during the Dame trade, was that we don't want to give you assets for anything. And essentially, Portland is going to be left with nothing doing this. Why do people in the national media keep thinking they'd even consider something like this?
Look, I don't think the Blazers would go down this lane.
Boy, it is unprotected.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying with the Suns having trouble filling that general manager spot. Yeah, nobody wants that Suns future because they don't control any of it.
Boy.
Remember, they traded that 1 first of their own to the Jazz and got 3 firsts back. And the Jazz are sitting there going, good.
What a time to be alive.
But I say all of this. Nem goes further. It says, any trade offer from the Rockets will require Thompson. In the packages I've received, there's an argument to be made that Thompson is the best asset because of his insane defensibility, super athleticism, age, and contract. But I'd be curious to see if I could also acquire Tari Eason or Jabari Smith Jr. Green is the deal in this problem in this deal. He's only 23, and there may be some upside there, but his contract extension kicks in next season, and it's unclear if he's going to be worth the raise. Those 2 names he mentioned before that, though, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason. If I'm the Blazers, if I'm not able to peel off Amen or I can't get Şengün for less than this, that's what I'm looking to peel off. What have the Blazers built themselves around? Big, multi-dimensional, long, rangy, athletic wings.
Yeah.
That's what, if I'm the Blazers, that's what I'm looking to peel off.
Oh, boy.
Look, I'll go a step further. If the Milwaukee Bucks, because Orlando's a team that I've heard has kicked around the idea of Giannis.
Yeah.
If I'm the Blazers and Franz Wagner is a part of that package, now the Bucks are going to want premium if they're the ones not getting Franz in this. If I'm the Blazers, I put if Franz is on the table, I'm going, Blazers, we have your draft future. Bucks, we'll give you that, and we'll give you Shaedon Sharpe. And we'll give you more on top of that. Like, if you're telling me it costs you Shaedon, because you got to put DA or Grant in there for the salary, so pick your poison there. All of their capital, their draft capital, plus an additional pick in the future for Franz, I'd do it. And your lineup going forward is some version of 2 Franz, Denny. That's your core. You're in a similar spot that the Magic are in without shooting, but you've got Ant in the meantime, and you just try to make something work there. That's the route I'd go.
You do put yourself in a pickle, though, because in this, are you saying you hold on to Klingon?
Yes.
Okay, so Klingon.
Or look,
is
if that's the deciding aspect of it, if you're talking about getting a guy like Franz who's 25, 5-5,
yeah,
who's a pick and roll savant, a primary creator, the shooting is a problem.
That's a big problem in the NBA.
It is.
Got to have shooters.
But if you're telling me my starting lineup has 3 of Toumani Camara, Franz Wagner, and Denny Avdia, 6'8", 6'9", 6'9", in the problems that those guys present.
You're long, rangy, and athletic.
And you're young, and you're controlled. There are worse problems to have.
Yeah. Still need that bona fide star. Franz goes a long way to helping you get more stable, and as we were talking about yesterday, raising the floor. But you still got your question marks that are looming.
And the Bucks in this scenario would end up with Shaedon and either Jeremy or DA.
Yeah.
All of that draft capital. If you want to put Donovan in there, okay. And then probably Anthony Black and more draft capital from the Magic.
Yeah, but I also think that is not using your leverage that you have to the furthest extent.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, because you just said all of that draft capital is going out.
I think if you're
saying all of everything is going out.
I'm talking about
no,
not every pick they have. I'm talking about all of the Bucks capital.
So that includes all of the swaps and the first round pick.
I would for a player of Franz's ability, I would do that. I would give the Bucks their capital back.
Yeah, I'd give them the swaps.
Mm-hmm.
I'd try to squeeze every ounce that you can.
I would too.
They're going to have to buckle at some point.
But that's when I talk about the Blazers and the potential they have to peel something off, there's lesser levels And there's bigger levels. It's all about a sliding scale of kind of what comes out of that. Coming up next, though, the NBA, it keeps going. We had some absolutely phenomenal games last night, and I want to dive into that Nuggets-Clippers game a little bit more just because we talked about the James Harden of it all, but there was so much that came out of that game and sets up a Game 7 that I just want to dive into. We'll get that next here on Danny and Dusty today, The Fan.
Check out the Fan merch.
James Harden didn't turn into Jim Harden. That was one of the storylines coming out of Clippers Nuggets. And Ivica Zubac did about as well as anyone can do on Nikola Jokic. But the role players showing up for the Clippers has been this kind of mixed bag. And we talk about the guys that do and don't show up that can make the difference. We talked about the weakest link versus strongest link. And I think
Dude, every time you say that, I think of the show. You all the weakest link.
Yep. Goodbye. But I think this series might be the single best series in the NBA demonstrating this. Who is the weakest link for the Clippers?
Well, we had this conversation yesterday where it was like we went through that roster, and a guy that we mentioned was Nick Batum, right? In his aging wily vet. You want to talk about a hell of a game?
Nick Batum was messing around with a 5x5 and he played more minutes.
That was the most like old man at the Y game I've ever seen in my life, where it was coming up, making a block shot, very fundamentally sound, where he pinned it off the glass, where he pinned Murray off the glass.
And he came out of nowhere for that too.
But it was like so silky smooth the way he just eyed him up, lined him up, and just went whoop, and used his big old long arms to pin it on the glass.
Yeah, Nick's still 6'9" with a 7'3" wingspan.
Hauling in rebounds and just like being a facilitator to everybody on the floor. It was, didn't shoot a lot, didn't score a lot, but didn't need to.
For those wondering, Nick Batum last night in 34 minutes was plus 11, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 2 of 5 from 3.
That is just vintage Nick. That's why he was in
Love him.
Portland for so long. Love it.
I loved Nick Batum so much.
I mean, you look at that, their bench, Nick Batum plus 11, Derek Jones Jr. plus 2, Bogdan Bogdanovic plus 8. And they all made plays that were huge at different points in time, whether it was Derek Jones Jr. with a defensive stop, Bogdan Bogdanovic scoring before the end of the first half, Nick throughout the entirety of the game.
Well, and Ty Lue's coaching the hell out of that team because you see, didn't play Ben Simmons, didn't need to play Ben Simmons. He uses the vets that he has on that bench sparingly,
very situationally,
but wisely.
Yes.
And that's where you look at and you say, I don't know where that weak link is. Chris Dunn?
And
in
again,
the starting lineup?
Chris Dunn last night, but the game before, played heavy minutes, was 6 of 9 from 3, if I remember right. No, he's 6 of 7 from the field. I think it was 3 of 3 from 3. And played something like 34 minutes. Played 10 minutes last night.
Yeah, I think you mean Blazer legend, by the way.
Look,
Chris Dunn.
Ty Lue, if you ain't got it, he's going to try to cook something up. Like, because Nick played, I think, want to say 14 or 18 minutes the game before, played 34 this game. If you've got it, he's going to roll with you.
And that's where you look at Denver and Michael Porter Jr. with the shoulder injury, the short bench that they have and the ability to adjust, it goes away and it disappears when you have no counterpunch. And with Porter's shoulder dinged up, and then his volatility to begin with,
Yes.
and then you have him injured, and only really one guy you can lean on coming off the bench in Westbrook.
And then
Godspeed.
I don't know how heavy you want to lean on that stick.
Yeah, and then we went through their bench, and the rest of the guys who are getting the DNPs.
Where do you go?
There's nobody you're going to put on the floor.
No. And in that same vein, you have an elimination game on the docket coming up tonight between the Warriors and Rockets. We'll dive into that next. But first, here's Jordan Schultz with the Sports Center Update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, only one game on the NBA playoff slate tonight. The Golden State Warriors take a 3-2 lead into Game 6 against the Houston Rockets. Warriors are a 5.5-point favorite going for the knockout punch. Tip-off at 6 p.m. on ESPN. Elsewhere around the association, the Grizzlies hiring interim coach Tuomas Isalo to be their next full-time man. He replaced Taylor Jenkins in March and becomes the first Finnish-born head coach in league history. Also, the San Antonio Spurs announcing that Greg Popovich will no longer roam the sidelines, but transition to a full-time president for the team. They're promoting assistant Mitch Johnson to head coach. Already been with the organization for more than a decade and took over for Popovich when he had a mild stroke back in November. And over in golf, it does look like the second round of CJ Cup Byron Nelson has resumed play. A long weather delay earlier because of some lightning. Scotty Scheffler gaining a stroke, down 13 under through 10 holes. Jonathan Vegas still nipping at his heels, although, of course, one stroke back further now, still at -10 through 9. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your
We can only hope that we get as good of a Game 6 as we got last night in Detroit between the Knicks and the Pistons, as the Rockets and Warriors are going to do battle yet again tonight in Game 6, an elimination game for those Houston Rockets.
I am looking forward to this game. I think that Steve Kerr smartly said, we've got the older roster. We've got the guys that are dinged up a little bit more.
Back it up.
We are going to pull the ripcord and try to close this thing out on our home floor. Everything that we know about Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, the Golden State Warriors, is that game was not out of reach when he packed it up with down 13 with, 6 minutes and change to go?
Yeah.
We've seen that come back a time or two, but it was, all right, with everything we got going on, is it in our best interest?
It's not worth it to send it here because we can go back home.
And going back home, putting a young team in a hostile environment, that's exactly where the Warriors can thrive. Ballsy choice.
Could backfire.
And if it does, I'm here for it.
Buddy.
I'm here for it. And we got the Game 7. But something tells me we're going to get the best version of Steph. I don't know how he's doing it with that thumb as mangled as it is. But
and with Amen Thompson on him.
He's been playing with that thumb for
about a month now. 6 weeks.
He's been shooting the damn lights out. He's incredible.
It's just just hard work and perseverance. Definitely not Toradol.
No. But sue the Blazers though.
No.
Sue the Blazers.
I'm really looking forward to this game because I want to see just how much Ime Udoka is going to lean into the double big lineup because it is just beating the ever-living crap out of the Warriors. There's just no other way you can slice it. Like the whole they're going to go hack a Steven Adams. Make them prove it.
Then you get in foul trouble and you don't have the depth. But you also go home with Steve Kerr thinking, we're going to get some more favorable calls because the entire arena is going to be on our side. We can work the officials a little bit better. That's part of playoff basketball.
Oh, look, every coach is already the Boston Celtics, every one of them whined and complained and moaned and groaned about how physical the Orlando Magic are, blah, 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 blah. And they got beat up. But that's playoff basketball. That's what this Houston team is doing. That's what this Detroit team is doing. That's what this Orlando team is doing. That's what the Portland Trailblazers are building to. Getting bigger, longer, stronger, just being physical as hell with teams because the league is rightly allowing it to happen again.
Yep.
And there's been a few people I like the freedom of movement in the game. I don't. I like teams that can play defense. I like teams that can be physical with you. I like teams that can make you uncomfortable.
And you know what is funny is that people, it looks like soccer out there. The most physical brand of basketball is European basketball.
Oh, dude, yeah. You go watch Mega Basket or any of the Serbian teams.
They beat each other up.
It is a war over there. It is don't get me wrong. In some of the EuroLeague competitions, like with Real Madrid, they play a freedom of movement style.
Yeah.
But they run up against teams that are particularly from the high end Mediterranean leagues that will just beat the crap out of them.
It's fun.
It's honestly it's great basketball. And I want to see how does Jimmy Butler look, because his butt bothered him.
Yeah, butt.
You look at Steph and that thumb. Can Draymond look Draymond's leash right now after last game? If you don't think that they're watching, you're crazy. How much room is he going to be able to have at home with the crowd behind him?
Yep.
How much is Houston willing to push it with Dylan Brooks and Tari Eason? Because those guys ride the habitual line crossers as well.
Draymond Green could cost his team tonight.
Could also be the guy that gets it done.
Yep, because the technical foul game, was it game 4? Where he should have been run. I mean,
hit him with the flagrant instead, said it was live ball. It's I don't know, man. That whistle was dead, and he definitely kicked him on the back of the head and then grabbed his jersey.
He was detriment Draymond that game.
Until he walled off against Şengün and just stood him up and made the biggest stop while Jimmy Butler sorted for the rebound.
But if he gets in foul trouble or he gets run, night, you got game 7.
I'm looking at. I'm going to pick the Rockets tonight.
You think the Rockets going to pull it off?
I think the Rockets are going to force 7. I thought we were going to get both the Pistons and the Clippers to pull it off last night, and the Pistons, boy, did they have their chance.
They blew it.
They had a 4-point lead with a minute 15 to go, and I was like, when Cade missed that layup, I was just like, oh no.
Young teams, though, you go through those moments, and again, Cade Cunningham is a young star in the making in the NBA.
Got to get your scars.
You do. You got to toughen up before you get to that point.
Everything is telling me to pick the Warriors here because of exactly that. But look, it starts with Ime, and it emanates to that whole team. There is a toughness and a SOB factor that is higher, I think, than any other team in the league.
I've always thought this as I watch Houston and watch the development that Ime Udoka's had over the last couple of years. How much better would the Celtics be if he was their coach?
That's a really good question because, they were on that path. Like, Joe Maz is a psychopath of a different type, but I think his ability, I think that over the long haul, Missoula's better for the ethos of the team.
He's better for guys like Tatum because I think the one thing that I go, boy, everybody else could really thrive under Ime Udoka. You could have had a moment where Jason Tatum goes, I'm not about this.
Look, Spo and Ime are very much aligned in how they operate. And Spo was initially empowered early in the year one when LeBron James got there, where Pat Riley told LeBron James where he could stuff it because LeBron wanted Spoelstra gone. And ever since that, Spoelstra has been empowered to do that. And Ime was basically empowered day one by the Houston Rockets. Now, they don't have anybody with star caliber to do that. But I'll tell you right now, when you talk about coaches and how they're respected in the NBA, Ime might be number one among players, legitimately. And it would be a reason why Giannis Antetokounmpo would go there in the offseason.
That would be an interesting development because hard ass expects a lot, demands a lot. But for whatever reason, guys buy in, and I think a lot of it is former player.
There's, even though he does, like, it's the same but different with Chauncey. Like, talking to players around the league after games and stuff like that, like Chauncey getting booed, like the number of players that I've talked to over the last 2 years, like, does that happen? Like, they're booing CB. Like, those guys are just viewed differently, not just because of because Ime and CB's player records couldn't be further apart, but the way that they're revered and talked about and respected, very similar. Very similar. So,
well, and Kerr gets that too from being a former player. Like, that's why you got that immediate buy-in coming off of being a broadcaster for a few years. Then boom,
with no coaching experience.
Yeah.
So super helpful. All right, coming up next, we wrap up today's show. I don't know how. I mean, I know how because they're so dumb. More coaches have been caught up in a gambling scandal.
Oh boy!
Yikes! We'll get to that next year. Wrap up today's show on Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
It's
I guess when you're bored, it's just something that happens in these corn-fed states, because it seems like if you were to throw a dart down on a U.S. map for coaches, players, staffers getting caught gambling, it would cover like a 5-state range. And it would go start at the Great Lakes and go down to the Gulf of America. Yeah, I said Gulf of America. That's what Google says, folks. Just going with it.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. But 5 staffers at Iowa State, after submitting more than 6,200 online bets totaling $100,000.
$100,000 is a lot.
It is, but not when you're talking 6,200 bets.
$16 a bet. 16 and change.
Not a lot.
So it wasn't big wagers, but there were a lot of them. And obviously they were pretty successful to keep doing that because they were support staffers for Iowa State football, which means that they aren't the high end getting a lot of money.
No.
So they're probably like in the recruiting department, or like I'm looking at
Compliance
it. One of them is the son of their defensive coordinator, John Heacock, who is a GA. He was hired as the director of football analytics. Okay.
I think one's the equipment manager at Valparaiso now, something like that.
Yeah, one they got an equipment guy, 2 equipment guys, recruiting guy, another equipment guy. Not high paying.
It's the guys who you think that would get caught with this.
Yeah, but and so what you're thinking is they were actually probably pretty successful because those guys, $100,000, those 5 guys, that's a lot of cash.
Just turning over some money. They were betting on professional and college games, including men's and women's basketball games, for the Cyclones.
Oh, see, that's where they probably made their money back.
Oops.
Yeah. This is, look, there's going to be guys, and this, remember, there was a big, like, operation in the state of Iowa to uncover, because they thought student athletes were doing it at the University of Iowa and Iowa State. So when they were probing the students, they end up finding, wait a minute, we got some staffers as well.
There's more. And that's the thing, is like, again, this stuff is all geofenced and tracked and very easily to track back. It's like, just don't do it. So all of these guys have been hit with a show cause.
Okay, 1-year show cause.
They are not being hit with criminal charges, so they're getting off on the light end. They are not getting Jonte Portered. They will be allowed to work as long as if wherever they are hired, if they're retained, or if they go somewhere else, like if you talk about the guy at Valpo, he can continue to work, but the schools will have to pay for them to go attend a 2-week seminar and then serve a 2-week suspension.
Dang, man. Well, there's gonna be more crackdowns, and they're gonna send messages through guys like these, and I totally get it. If you didn't think that these things were happening before, you're crazy. But now that legalized sports gambling's here, they're actually going to start saying, hey, guys, slap on the wrist. You can't do these things. What sucks, though, is that for Iowa State football, did you guys know that last year was their first 10-win season in school history?
I did not.
Really?
Go Cyclones.
They won 11 games last year, and it was the first time in program history they've won 10 games.
They had what's his name? The quarterback.
Brock Purdy.
No,
Seneca Wallace.
The Seneca. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they only win 9 with Seneca?
They did not even win 9 with Seneca Wallace. Maybe they got.
I thought
they did in 2000. They went 9-3 in the year 2000.
For some reason, I thought that was like a 10 or 11 win team. Okay.
No, they only have 3 9-win seasons in program history. 1906. 2000 and then 2020, where they beat Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl for their 9th win of the year.
Holy crap! Really?
Yeah.
Things on the up and up there out in Iowa. They got those corn-fed boys. Good
When
Lord.
you look at their 8-win seasons, they only have 6 8-win seasons.
So my God, they're a 5 and 6 win team monster.
No, sorry, excuse me. 7 8-win seasons, and 5 of them were 1978 or earlier. 1903, 71, 76, 77,
I just
78.
don't think of them as being in the dregs like that for some reason.
They've been awful. They've been awful.
God, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that team not associated with being so middling?
Because they were forgettable in the Big 12.
Yeah.
They were just like they were
never the worst thing you'd ever seen, but they were never good either.
Oh, I'm looking at Okay, hold on. They've had a football program for 127 years, and we'll go 3-win seasons. Okay, and I'm just looking here. They have from 82 all the way down to 27. They've had 3 wins or less in a season. So, what is that? 45 years.
How
45 of their 127 have been 3 or less.
Where have they been in basically the last 25 years? Have they had many of those in the last 25 years?
Yeah, they in the last 25. Yes, but
have they been mostly middle of the pack?
You look at 2014, 2008, 2003. They had 2-win seasons. That's not
Yikes!
good.
Really?
Yeah.
I just feel like I've seen them in so many just dumb bowl games.
And then 2007, 13.
Sure, we're not thinking of Iowa.
No. That's for sure. But I just for whatever reason, I just kind of associate them with being early December bowl games.
2007, 13, 15, 16. They had 3 wins.
Wow, that's so weird. I don't know why I don't think of them that way.
So they've had a lot of. I mean, they haven't been to a lot of bowl games. Period.
But for some reason, in my head,
127 years of football, 19 bowl games.
I don't feel so bad being a Seattle Mariners fan right now.
Wow.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know why. In my head, I just don't associate them with being a dumpster fire.
They are 6-13 in those bowl games.
You probably just don't think about them enough, Danny.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just don't associate them with just being like this tire fire. 127
years of football, 2 conference championships.
Maybe it's just been the longevity.
2 conference championships.
Hey, it's not bad. One every 75 years.
Wasn't Iowa State's basketball coach like a pretty big NBA player for a while, or am I thinking of the wrong school entirely?
No, Iowa State has basically been a proving ground for coaches for the Chicago Bulls.
Maybe that's what we're thinking of.
Yeah, well, I mean, basketball they've been fine. I mean, even more recently, Tyrese Halliburton.
You know who their first ever head coach was? Pop Warner.
Oh, there you go. I mean, it must just be the longevity that they've been around for so long.
And Pop Warner went 3-4.
Mr. Football.
Yeah, dude. Every little kid plays 3-4 football, right there. They play Pop Warner football.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Fred Hoiberg was who I was mentioning.
Yeah.
Didn't he have a run there pretty successfully before he moved on?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just that's why they're in just the sports lexicon. It's the basketball. It's not the football.
It's been. I mean, they've had some great football coaches there. Johnny Majors was there for a while. Gene Chizik coached there. Dan McCarney was there forever. Paul Rhodes, and then now Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell's done a really good job.
Yeah.
They have only had 2 turds in his tenure there. Went 3-9 his first year, and then had a 4-8 season in 2022. Other than that, he's gone to a bowl every single year. He has half of the school's bowl wins all time.
Maybe that's why. It's just the recency bias.
Yeah. And he has been to 7 of the 19 bowl games in program history.
Not bad.
Good for him. Turn that one around.
God, they suck.
Yeah, they do.
That's really bad. All right, that does it for us this week. That's talking Iowa State football.
There you go.
Huh? And I think maybe you think they're better because they do have NFL talent.
That's the thing is they do turn out
out
pretty regular NFL talent.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got Game 7. At least one Game 7 this weekend.
Yep, and locked into Game 6 tonight.
We got Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, too.
We got the Kentucky Derby and
the Derby.
Oh. Happy birthday.
Yeah, wow, I almost cussed. Yeah.
I got the dump button.
I forgot my birthday is tomorrow.
There you go.
Sunday.
Happy birthday,
What
brother.
day is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sunday. All right, cool. All right, well, hey, have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you Monday from noon to 3 right here on The Fan. Up next, 4 hours of power from their mouths to your ears. Prime time with Patrick and Isaac right here on The Fan.
Bye.
Prime time with Isaac and Sue.
A prime